I am gonna be that annoying, bitchy producer on this one for Varun especially.
Wait, as opposed to?
Rishi Kapoor
I am
from
not like that.
Luck by Chance. Kapoor from Luck by
We've been
Chance.
told to be more structured, right? So let's go for it. Let's try
We have
and
been
fail,
told to.
of course.
Yeah,
But
of
yeah.
course. I mean, every successful person always fails upward, so it's fine only.
So let's not call ourselves successful just yet.
Oh yeah.
Not yet. Have some hope. I know hope is a bad thing to have, but
Hope is a
thoda
bad
hope
thing to
What a
rakho.
wonderful note to start a podcast
This
on.
is fine, I think.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Just check the input level also. Just
I
in
mean,
case.
imagine giving this intro like 3 times to people. Once here, once in the next episode on Spielberg, and then once in the disclosure day. The disclosure is that there is no hope, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean,
We
if people just tell me if the mic gets too loud. Huh?
What
No.
geriatrics
Okay.
convention have I landed up in? My God.
जादू मंतर जादू मंतर जादू मंतर You are going into the future.
Hello. Welcome to Queen is Dead. This
Hello,
is
hello,
a
hello. Is
series.
that Varun? Repeat take.
You want me?
Yeah.
Did you just say repeat take?
Yeah.
NYU Film Studies grad Dhruv Goyal for you, ladies and gentlemen. Not retake, repeat take.
Yeah, it's the same. It means the same thing, okay?
You talking to me?
They always be clothing. என் பேர் மாணிக்கம் எனக்கு இன்னொரு பேர் இருக்கு
Talking to me?
Queen is dead.
Hello. Welcome to Queen is Dead series on the sci-fi cinema of Steven Spielberg, in which we are going to be, talking about the sci-fi cinema of Steven Spielberg. It's going to be 3 episodes. This is the first. We're talking about Close Encounters of the Third Kind, E.T. the Extra Terrestrial, and AI Artificial Intelligence. We are not going to repeat the movie titles so often. So, they're going to be
Yeah.
shortened.
It'll be Close Encounters, ET, and AI,
And
essentially.
AI, yes.
Yeah.
A second episode will feature Minority Report, War of the Worlds, and Ready Player One.
Yeah.
And all of this leads up to the 12th June release, which is Disclosure Day, which we'll also be talking about once we've all watched it. The manel today comprises Cris, Dhruv, Amartya, Ashwin, and me, Varun. We're going to start off with something we've kind of discussed in one way. So we're going to put a spin to that question and just get a sense of what everyone's first experience of a Spielberg sci-fi film was like. Ashwin, why don't you start us off?
Hi everyone. So I I think like most other millennials, my first experience was with Jurassic Park because it's something that you just randomly see on the TV screen when you're like walking around, like when you're like 10 years old or something, and you see a dinosaur and you're just staring at it for like 10 minutes while you're playing around. So it was my first experience, and as we keep saying about like Spielberg, the whole childlike sense of wonder, that's what I remember about it. I still feel that way about most of his films. So that was my entry point.
Amartya, you want to
Alphabetical order.
elaborate?
Let's just
Because
take that. Yeah.
Yeah, not going
Even though
by
we've
what
broken it
Varun
already.
was
Yeah.
inevitably going to say, and we are not going to let him say that. So we are moving on about it.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think same because Jurassic Park was like a staple, right? Because imagine any of the TV channels which used to play English movies like Star Movies, Sony Pics, blah 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 blah.
Yeah, not
At some point,
sponsored by any
HBO.
of them.
HBO, and
Yeah.
at some point or the other, you would see a Jurassic Park, and invariably you would stop at either the first scene where Sam Neill's character sees that Plesiosaurus, on the feed, or that scene of the T-Rex.
Clever girl?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. That scene, yeah.
Hmm.
So all those stuff, like, they imprint basically, and the
Right.
Williams score is pretty magical. Like, I don't think there is any other word for it. I think Spielberg is always one of those filmmakers who I think not introduces what a childlike sense of wonder can be visualized in film, but I think essentially crystallizes it. Like any other filmmaker, anytime they want to show like a character going through a sense of wonder at seeing something new, I think takes a page out of the Spielberg playbook.
Yeah. Do you
Because
have anyone who you think? I
yeah,
mean, I know
I
film
think
history is
basic.
old in that sense, but like
No,
anyone else?
I think basically like I know this franchisee is persona non
Oh,
grata
you mean stars?
after the creator, but Chris Columbus when he does Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's
Okay.
Philosopher's Stone, or is it the
Okay.
Sorcerer's Stone? Sorcerer's Stone, yeah.
Philosopher's Stone.
The movie, not the book.
Yeah, both. It's both
Whatever it
titles.
is.
Whatever
Yeah.
it is, but
Yeah.
I think when
Harry Potter
Columbus,
one.
yeah,
Yeah.
when he
Spoken like a person who can't read.
yes,
Well,
exactly.
you have to make it easy for the people who only listen also, sir. So, I'm
And
useful in some sense. So, okay. Go ahead,
yeah,
you were saying.
so sense of wonder for that, or if you are introducing, because the genre is sci-fi, the substrate is sci-fi, you are introducing a new world, you are introducing characters who are familiar with the world but the audience isn't. So to make them easier, you need an accessible point of view, and it helps if the character who is the accessible point of view also shares that same sense of wonder that the audience theoretically will share. So whenever any filmmaker tries to do that, they usually borrow from Spielberg's playbook because it's it works, it is effective. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
The effectiveness of that entire thing works.
Can I ask you, and because I don't have much to elaborate on Ashwin and Amartya's points on Jurassic
Mhm.
Park, because that's my introduction also. And,
Hmm.
I'm just butting in because I won't take up more time. I'll just pass it on to Chris after this. How many people actually rely on that? Not slow, it's not that slow also, but it's like the push-in, the Spielberg push-in of wonderment, the Spielberg push-in of sort of tearing up. Like, you look at something and it's that slow push-in almost on people always gets, you get, and their eyes looking either up, mostly up to something only,
Hmm.
gets them all like crazy
I
Yeah.
think
about it.
you can trace it as far back as something like The Goonies by Richard
Okay.
Donner.
Hmm.
And Richard Donner was a filmmaker, an acclaimed filmmaker in his own right.
Superman the
He made
movie.
Superman.
Okay.
Superman the movie, yeah.
So it wasn't as if he needed to take a
I
leaf
mean, I'm
out
sure
of
John
Spielberg's
Ford
playbook.
actually also would have done this at some point, because considering Ford is such a huge
Influence, yeah.
inspiration for Spielberg.
Spielberg, yeah.
I mean, Spielberg's sense of scale and spectacle, though, definitely comes from David Lean much more.
David Lean, okay.
Because Ford was a studio-centric filmmaker. You couldn't really go out and shoot so much back in the day. Towards the latter part of his career, he could do that. It's like any of the other guys of his generation, John Huston.
How green is
or,
my
you know.
valley for reference point, yeah.
Okay.
If you
Yeah,
want
or I
scale.
think Searchers did that.
Yeah. Searchers did that, but I'm saying if you want reference for, the spectacle, because
Sure.
scale of it all, because that's what he was doing. It's
But
like
I
an
mean,
academic
researches
Yeah.
is a lot actually about collapsing that scale after a
Yeah.
point. So,
Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
So, but the thing is that because he did it at a time when you were finally managing to go out and consistently make these films on color. So
Yeah.
color cinema is still in the mid 70s or late 70s, fairly new in that while it's been established and it's how most films are now made, or 99% of films are now made, it was still new enough. Like a lot of people had still watched mostly black and white cinema. So you were able to go out and shoot in different locations. This one, for instance, is shot as far away from Los Angeles as you can imagine Bombay, like 35 miles. The first one we'll be talking about is shot about 35 miles north of Bombay, which is unusual for its time. So you're
I mean,
able
one
to
section of it, right? Not the
sure,
entire
sure,
thing.
but
Yeah.
but not the entire thing. But
Yeah.
that's the thing, right? That because it's
He
all
learned a lot
new,
about India in that, I'm pretty sure.
and he put that knowledge to great effect in Temple of Doom in 1984. But yeah, lots of filmmakers, I think, just because you can take that. Though I suppose Stanley Kubrick is also as much an inspiration for anybody wanting to do like the sci-fi stuff, especially.
Sure. Yeah.
Like everybody has to have that 2001 shot,
The
and I'm like,
monolith.
you're
Yeah.
not doing it as well as him, so don't do it after a point. Like,
It's pretty
but
well done
everybody's.
here. But anyways, anyway, in
I
the
mean,
first
this is
film.
still a new time, right?
Sure.
I'm talking about films doing it now still. Anyway, sorry, Chris, go ahead.
Best
Yeah,
film,
so
of course.
of course. So I somehow did not come across Jurassic Park on the TV at any point, which is surprising to me. But I did grow up watching a lot of Spielberg films, but the first sci-fi one that I would watch would be Ready Player One, would be around 2018, 2019, I think. I was very much into like kind of that gaming culture side of stuff more, and there, when the film came out, had a bit of a buzz. So I think I just ended up downloading it and watching it, and I remember liking it at the time. I don't remember having particularly strong opinions about it, and like I only consciously started watching more stuff very recently when I watched Minority Reports for reasons that are understandable to our audience. So
And will be
that's all
made
that I
very
have.
clear also. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that will be obviously elaborated upon in the following episode. But yeah, I that's just then when I watched it, I didn't even know it was a Steven Spielberg film. So it's just kind of watching a sci-fi film that was being discussed, and like that's just my introduction. And then much later it becomes like I'm watching Spielberg sci-fi films. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Ready Player One seems like such a. I don't
No, you can
know
begin
whether
at the bottom and then just work
you
upwards,
can
right?
sort of.
Yeah.
It's also that
Sir, why
the
are you referencing a
interesting.
Drake song of all things?
I don't know what that means.
He
Sorry.
doesn't even know what Drake is.
I don't know what
Started
Drake
from
is.
the bottom, now we are here. You know, the Drake
You
song.
explaining it makes it worse, sir. Just let it be.
Yes.
I have no idea.
Let
And
it
I'm
go.
not going to put any clips of anything.
go.
So, let me be very clear about this. So,
Yes.
I am not
you-
getting our episodes copyright claimed now.
What I can do is
yeah.
dramatic recreation of started
Yeah,
from
you
the
can
bottom now.
try and
No,
sing
no,
it
no, no,
for
no,
2
no, no,
seconds
no.
and then
I
shut
don't want
up
to
as
hear
well.
a Bengali Himesh Reshammiya doing like an American rapper.
You
kind
have
of
already
thing.
listened to it.
He's
It's in the
Canadian,
Badass
sir.
Ravi Kumar episode. Yes. If you
He's
want to listen
Canadian,
to it.
Varun. You got your facts wrong.
I said North
Eh,
American.
Achha,
No,
not-
Drake is Canadian. Yeah.
Yeah,
Varun, what was your introduction? Since no one
it
else is
was-
asking, I'll ask you. Yeah.
It was ET because it had a special 40th anniversary engagement on IMAX. That was also my first time watching a film on
You are
IMAX.
not a sci-fi person also, right? If I'm
I'm
correct.
not at all.
Yeah.
I'm not a science person. So I'm like, science in itself is such a.
Come on. I am not a science person also, but that doesn't mean I don't like science fiction.
No,
There's
I
a
think
reason
I
it's
just.
science fiction.
It was part of the boycott was everything science related.
Part of he's like Satyagraha in genre movies basically, kind of like that. If you look at
It is not Satyagraha. This is Hartal. You should know the difference. You're Bengali. Anyway.
At
E.T.,
this
sir,
point,
E.T.
at this point, I can't. Na, वही तो है.
So
क्या कर सकते हैं?
and just to offset the greatness of ET because it was such a beautiful experience. I
Oh
went and
God,
watched
are we going to
Basic
offset
Instinct.
it now?
Oh,
No.
Oh.
That was Basic Instinct. Paul
no,
Verhoeven
Basic
is
Instinct
as
is great. What do you mean?
It's a
I
fantastic
mean,
movie.
it's not aged particularly well.
Oh,
Same, I
So-
agree with that. Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's a fun enough kind of genre movie.
Yeah.
But ET was just sublime because there were like 3 people in the auditorium, so you could sit where you
Really?
wanted. Yeah, I mean it was a weekday, Bangalore,
Okay.
like
No, but
it's not
ET is a
got a
big thing. I thought worldwide
cinema
it's a big
culture.
sir,
thing, sort of. No?
sir, quote unquote old films they are not going to watch, no?
Yeah,
That's the problem.
old films also are not programmed particularly well.
Okay,
So
okay, got it.
you always get with the sort of bad slots or whatever.
The
This was
Cris
like-
timing, 9 a.m.
Yeah.
or like the
Yeah, this was like a
anti-Cris
1 p.m.
timing,
show
which
on
is
a
10 p.m.
Tuesday or something, which is just a bad show to go for in general.
Awesome show.
I had nothing to
Sorry,
do.
no one will
I
be
mean-
watching it then. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's
Yeah.
going to watch it. But I
Yeah.
was taken in by how accessible he made this feeling of childhood feel,
Hmm.
right? Like it was just, and so much of it I could relate to cycling around randomly, which is like I realize that is a very sort of privileged position to be coming in from.
Sure.
I grew up in small cantonment towns all over India where we had ample space to cycle around like that.
Okay.
So they are very much created on the grids and patterns of like planned cities like they are in America.
Yeah.
And the idea of this kid finding solace in something that is not of his world when his own world is sort of coming apart was
Yep.
beautifully rendered. I don't know whether another filmmaker would have sold it as well. I think
Okay.
the reason Spielberg manages to get such a great reaction out of so many people is
Hmm.
that he consistently manages to direct this stuff really well.
Sure.
Because the stories are pretty, I mean, depending on who you ask, E.T. is a Satyajit Ray script, right? So
We will elaborate, not we,
I will
Amartya will
elaborate on
elaborate
that.
upon
Yeah,
that
Martha will
later.
elaborate
Yeah.
on it.
yeah, I
But-
will
but
elaborate
it's-
on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting. And then I've had the opportunity to watch all the others that we're going to talk
Yeah.
about.
And this is
Except-
E.T. is also not written by him. Right.
It is written by Melissa Matheson, yeah.
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 Not that Spielberg has written, there's a lot of films he's directed which are not written by him.
He mostly
Uh,
doesn't write.
Yeah. But
He
I think
mostly
two of the
doesn't
films
write.
we are discussing, he has written, right?
He
So,
has written. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, again, you can talk about how much of AI is actually his work versus Ian Watson's versus Stanley Kubrick's.
Sure. Yeah. Sure. It's amalgamation of a lot of things. Yeah.
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 He has primary credit, and that's the
Yeah.
way
I
it
think
is.
he has the sole credit, not even like he doesn't even have
I
an
mean,
hand, I
it
think.
does say
Yeah.
it does say screen story by Ian Watson,
Okay.
which is kind of the thing of, okay, I've used your screenplay to write my screenplay, so we'll give you the lesser credit.
Sure.
Hmm.
Anyways,
Um,
we'll get to all that. By the
Yeah.
way, for people who are not sorry, Varun, my brief hosting duties have taken over. People
Please
who
do.
haven't listened to the Stanley Kubrick episodes, we have actually covered AI once before, but we'll be covering it in a different context here with Spielberg. But if you want to listen to it within the context of Stanley Kubrick's filmography and how we put it next to 2001: A Space Odyssey, you can listen to that episode. I thought it was very good.
Hmm. Yeah, that
Lovely.
wasn't a bad episode. That was quite a good
Yeah.
episode, actually.
दूसरों की जय से पहले खुद की जय करें, indeed.
Hmm.
We are moving on to
What does that
the
mean,
first.
Varun? Translate
I
it
mean-
for the people who don't get Hindi.
Everybody's gotten it, don't worry.
Okay.
They're
And
using
if they
AI
don't good for
translation
them,
apps
no, and
on
if they don't good
Spotify.
for them, if they don't good
No,
for
I
them,
want that episode
So-
to do well. I liked it. Anyway, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to hear the auto AI translated version of whatever we are talking about. We'll just be Americanized and we'll sound so strange.
I think we've had
anyway,
enough
moving
insults
on.
for the day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Moving on, we are going to be talking about our first film. Well, our first film. We all
Yes.
sat and made it with Steven. Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Well, I guess you've noticed something that's a little strange with Dad. It's okay, though. I'm still Dad. I can't describe it. What I'm feeling. And what I'm thinking. This means something. This is important.
This is the film that comes out right after Jaws. It is set up at a different studio, which is Columbia. It is also the first time it's also the second time rather, Spielberg has massive cost overruns on a film, and it is sort of part of the growing reputation he had at the time of being an irresponsible filmmaker. And that reputation would reach its peak with 1941, which is the film that came after this. Written and directed by Steven Spielberg, shot by Vilmos Zsigmond, who was also shooting Apocalypse Now around the
Yes.
same time for
Yes, yes. Yeah,
Francis
he
Ford
was.
Coppola. Edited by Michael Kahn. This is their first collaboration, Michael
Yeah.
Kahn and Steven Spielberg's. Music, as always, by John Williams, I think, who has scored all of Spielberg's films barring one, which is scored by Thomas Newman, so it might as well have been scored by John Williams.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
I mean, he's basically, John Williams learned from Alfred Newman, who's Tom Newman's father. Tom
Okay.
Newman kind of learned from John Williams.
So it's kept within that circle only. It's
Yeah.
fine.
So, and the film stars Richard Dreyfuss, Tori Gar, Melinda Dillon, and Francois Truffaut as a French scientist. I was about to trigger Amartya and Dhruv by saying some random French dude. Then I said, let's just.
I
wouldn't have been triggered only.
I don't think Amartya is that big on French cinema in any case.
Yeah.
Whatever he's watched, and Francois Truffaut, I've barely watched, and I find his writing or like criticism smug as anything.
Okay.
So my
That's
writing
that's
is
just how French people are.
Yeah.
No,
I was
no,
like,
no,
wait,
like,
French people writing
I'll
smug? Oh my God.
no, no, no. His writing is like one of those, because they were trying to establish their cinema. It's very polemical. It's very like, they created their heroes and villains very easily. Your favorite Jean Pierre Melville
Melville.
is
Melville.
not is not considered a good filmmaker according to the coherence
He's
people.
also not part of the Critics Turned Filmmakers Guild almost.
Yes, so
Because
he
Yes,
is
yes, he
generally
wasn't.
cinema in the
derided a little
40s.
bit, but from whatever I've read. But anyways, Francois Truffaut is very good in this film. I'm just saying I
Yes,
have
I
no
was shocked.
preconceived
I
sort
was
of love
shocked.
for him. If it was Terrence Malick coming in, separate matter. But no, he was studying then.
Hmm.
Or
Anyway.
making Days of Heaven, sorry. But yeah.
Yeah, probably that. Probably making Days of Heaven.
My obligatory reference is done. Go ahead.
Malik, as we call
Yeah.
it. But ठीक है.
Yeah.
But yeah, Close Encounters is basically about UFOs in the United States and how they change the life of one man in particular, played by Dreyfus. His name is Roy, and he's just your average Joe American, a very deliberate part of the film's design.
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg famously threw out a script by Paul Schrader, which he
Oh,
didn't
did he?
like at all.
Uncle Paul. Uncle Paul.
Really? I did not know this.
He was like, "This is not the film."
About Close Encounters?
It was the Close Encounter script, and
Okay.
he eventually ended up
Oh
writing
God,
it himself because
Uncle Paul must have been like, God's lonely man.
He is
sort of
kind of.
finding the
he
alien.
is, but
Kind
I
of.
can't imagine Travis Bickle
Yeah.
doing the whole Close Encounters thing. I mean,
Yeah.
Taxi Driver does share producers.
Taxi
with
driver
Close
does
Encounters.
Close Encounters. Oh my God, क्या combination है.
I mean, he's got the taxi to get to the place in
Yes.
wherever.
Wait,
Bioman,
that's Race
yeah.
to
And
wait,
then
that's
Bioman.
Race to Witch Mountain. That's Race to Witch Mountain starring The Rock. It's okay. Yeah. There is a movie. Anyway.
Just to Varun has placed his hands over his nose and face.
Yeah.
And he is trying to express the disgust.
Since October of last year, Amartya has been belly aching about The Rock, but he's the one who brings him up each time. It's not even like any of the rest of us ever went,
Yeah,
by the
but-
way, what do you think The Rock is up to? And Amartya is like, that guy, I want to kill him.
Anyways, Varun.
So yeah, so
Yes.
Roy spots a UFO one random night, and then he decides to investigate because, like every good American, he just can't mind his business.
Wait, is that what you
And-
read it as? I don't think I read
No,
it
no,
like
no.
that.
I think the idea is then he just gets off on this pursuit of
Mhm.
why this UFO has suddenly sort of started to communicate in some way with him.
Why always me?
And-
Sort of like that.
Why
No,
this
that
time
is
me, I
Americans
think.
usual. वो तो ठीक है. चलता है.
Okay.
So, and in the midst of that, he also meets a young woman whose son and herself, they're both caught up in the whole thing. Nobody wants to really buy into it because, which is the strangest part. That's the science fiction element of the film for me. I'm like, it's a country of conspiracy theorists. They would love to buy into the presence of UFOs.
Yeah.
But they eventually go and find out what's happening, and Truffaut
Also,
is
we'll be
doing
talking
some-
about these films in spoilers, just saying.
Yeah, obviously. Like,
Yeah,
I
there's no. It's been a fair while. Let's just.
Yeah, about 49 years. Should have
Yes.
watched it by now.
Yeah.
Half
Or
of
if you don't want to watch it, you
Amartya's
can not
lifetime.
watch it and listen to us. That is also another option, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's just the film. It's really not so much about what the UFO is there for.
Yeah.
That's kind of not the point.
Yeah.
Spielberg
It's
has
more
made
about
one
the
of those
unknown.
films.
It's more about the
Yeah.
fear of the
Yeah.
unknown, essentially.
Yeah.
And discovering the unknown.
Discovering the unknown also,
Yeah.
understanding what is
So
going to happen.
who wants to
Oh yeah. By the way, this
Kick
is
us
the
off from this.
yeah, because this movie has some people who really like it and some people who actually don't like it, outright don't like
Yeah,
it.
it's
So
the-
you know.
How about we go with the person who did not like it? Let's
I
do
think
that.
I think he should go in the end. I think because he might also get stuff that we are saying that he might be able to counter. I think, and we also, I think amongst us also we have a spectrum on how much we like this
Yeah.
film and how much we don't like it. So Varun, you go. I think just because we can cover the spectrum in increasing order and then sort of circle back
liking.
to the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah. You
My
made it
s-
sound like it's a driven system.
आप
I think
drink
it
चालू
goes-
करो. Hmm.
it goes without saying that it's a magnificently directed film. Like
Hmm.
each time I watch a Spielberg film, I cannot help but be distracted by how he is moving the camera. And I was once
Hmm.
told by a filmmaker, you should never be noticing such things about a film.
Yeah.
It means we've made bad films. I'm like,
Hmm. Bolo,
I've
bolo.
watched the film a couple of
I
times,
think that
so
same
it's
I think the
it's a
same sentiment
complete.
is shared by editors also, right? If you notice the
Yeah, the
editing, that
invisible
means
editing, essentially. Yeah.
I
And
mean, but
similar,
you
yeah.
could.
Similar, for
Yeah,
example.
but I think if you watch the film once, which is your absolute surrendering to it, and you watch it a second time, as I
Of
did,
course,
Close
second,
Encounters,
third time. I think what you're saying
even
applies to the
with
first watch.
yeah.
even with AI, I couldn't help but be like, hey, hold on, I really liked what you did there. So I
Yeah.
made a note of it, and when I finished the film, I immediately went back to it to see what he was
Hmm.
doing. And it's just people keep talking about his one-ers and how they transport you to places.
Hmm.
It's that one scene right at the beginning of the film where he moves the camera just a little bit on track, and then he just pauses.
Yeah.
And but it is so meticulously choreographed.
When I saw Jaws, when I had seen
Hmm.
Jaws, the one shot I always remember is the guy is basically like almost hanging from the edge of the boat, and Spielberg just focusing on the feet,
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
to
it's
induce
like
that horror.
it's weirdly enough a very weird William Friedkin's type of thing
Very
about the mechanics
yes.
of sort of operation in that
Yeah, but he's
place.
focusing on the feet and he's inducing the horror from that. And I'm
Yeah.
like, there is like you can chalk that up to you can chalk it up to experience, you can chalk it up to skill, but sometimes it's just instinct.
Yeah.
And Spielberg has some great instinct on where to place the camera. Like his
Yeah.
storyboarding itself, right?
Hmm.
How he storyboards each scenes, they are like spectacular.
Yeah.
Each and
He's a
every
filmmaker, like what you would call like a proper I feel he is a filmmaker, like whatever that means in today's context. Like when you go and watch his films, if you notice some of the visuals, I don't think that's more in amazement of how well he's doing it whilst you're still inside the drama of the film.
I'll
Most
tell
of
you,
this.
I'll give you a great example of how he's a filmmaker in the modern age, because at
Sure.
this time, his contemporaries are all active filmmakers working consistently. Right now, he's only really got Scorsese for company.
Yeah.
Right. And that, let's give them their due. Their quality of output is not going to drop.
Yeah.
They can probably walk onto a set without having prepared today and direct the life out of a script.
Yeah.
But there's a scene in Fablemans, which is the Fablemans car. This is when the family is just the three of them. It pulls into the driveway and there's fireworks. Fireworks, or is it lighting all around? I forget which it is, but there is like a lot of lighting involved in that scene. It is not actually practically lit. It's on a volume stage. So they're using LEDs. We've seen bad LED work being done by filmmakers, not known as Kenneth Branagh.
Okay.
This is great LED work being done by Kaminsky and Spielberg, who are both old hands. You'd think they'd want to go and set up all of that themselves. But they're able to embrace it and bring it, integrate it seamlessly. Even Cary Fukunaga was not able to do that with Masters of the Air, where you were like, dude, come on, I can tell where your physical set ends and your visual effects begin.
Yeah.
Spielberg is able to break that sort of boundary almost, shatter that barrier. But I think Close Encounters is probably his most adult-oriented film, alongside Minority Report in some ways.
In the science fiction space, you mean?
Yeah, in the science fiction space, definitely. Otherwise, like, of course, there's like Lincoln and Bridge of Spies and whatever. So, and I suppose generally we're closer to the age of Dreyfus's character, if not necessarily in his sort of particular
I mean,
situation.
we are not the person, not Cris.
Not the naysayer, yeah. I mean, Cris is just not ambitious in that sense.
Wow.
Cris, you can unmute yourself and swear
Cris,
at him
unmute
internally.
yourself. This slander cannot stand. What is this?
I don't even have it in me to slander, sir. Please go to like counter the slander, sir. Go ahead.
So you're able to understand the guy a little better. I think even when I watched it last year, I was like really fed up with him pretty early on. And even when I watched it today, I was pretty fed up with him. But I was like, okay, I can get why you're doing what you're doing. What really is interesting about the film is that it captures the curiosity of the adult mind really well. Because at some stage in life, you're like, yeah, fine, I understand I'm not going to know everything.
Yeah.
And I've made my peace with it. And he feels like very much in that space. Except he's like this one thing, and he fixates and he fixates and he fixates until sort of the world around him kind of is completely disrupted. Which is the interesting part, because you are always presented with these figures that are conscious of their duties towards family. Paul Dano's character from The Fabelmans is a great example of a character who will not do what's right for him just so that he can retain what's good for everybody else. And the Dreyfus character in this is very much, I'm dancing to my own tune. My problem with the film, unfortunately, is Dreyfus himself.
Okay.
I just am not sold on his acting. I didn't like him in Jaws either. I know they're very different roles, but his register never sort of changes.
Okay.
He's not got
The
much
register
of,
never changes, really?
yeah, I mean, like, he's not even a curmudgeon, like, because you'd say, and I don't need him to be lovable either.
Yeah.
He's just this snappy parent, and he never seems to leave that kind of slightly annoying sort of phase. I'm like, okay, go beyond that a little, because the character is interesting. He's supposed to be working for I think the Power Corporation.
Yeah.
And he's, just caught up in all this one random night. It's a great scene of the UFO hovering behind him. The camera, I think, is it's placed on the dashboard of the car.
Yep. Yeah.
And he's just consulting again, like, you wouldn't do this, you couldn't make this kind of movie today, because he's pulling maps out of glove compartments. He's got like 10.
Yeah.
And I felt like for a second I was watching my parents navigate, because at one point we used to have maps in the car.
Yeah.
And even now when we travel anywhere, the people in the back are supposed to navigate.
Yeah.
Not the person
Not the
sitting
guy
next to
in the front.
our father driving the car.
Yeah.
So it's got those very dated but memorable bits. I mean, of course, most cinema is dated, but you wouldn't say this of, say, 2001, right? Because all of it is supposed to be futuristic, except the stuff with the monkeys.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be futuristic too, depending
Pro
on
man,
the
yeah,
person who
pro
can
man.
bomb the
De-evolution
monkeys.
bhi ho sakta hai na, sir.
But
So,
Yeah. So
yeah.
my
Ho bhi
real
chukka
problem
hai
was
almost,
just
I would say. But anyway, sorry.
Dreyfus.
Yeah.
But I quite enjoyed. I think especially you can say that, oh, music is an easy cop out, when you want to really heighten something. But there's a shot of Truffaut just waving his hands about, and I'm like, that is such a beautiful visual cue. Like he's conducting the music.
Yeah.
Orchestra,
It's a
basically,
film
right?
set almost.
Yeah.
It is like a film
it
set.
It is a
I
film
suppose so.
set. Yeah, it is essentially a film
It's like
set.
crowded, hundreds of people there.
Yeah.
So
surrounded by a lot of suits, but
I responded to it a lot better, surprisingly, this time, because I watched it on like a big screen, and I'm a big proponent of that experience.
Yeah, he's
earns
the
me
cinema
it
wala, yes.
earns me
Mm.
only sarcasm and brickbats
No,
from
you
Dhruv
are
Krishna
you
Goyal.
have Ashwin, the one person, the main support you have is making films. Then you can't
He's
help
making
it. No?
films only.
That's
so
true.
hum kaun hai?
Yeah.
So he'll make them, and I'll go to the cinema and watch
You'll
them.
go and watch them. Yeah.
Yes.
Dhruv is like, Netflix pe kab aa rahe?
Anyways, I'll briefly go,
And
because
Amartya is getting cam prints and distributed them.
Yeah.
Poor Sanjeev.
Cam prints क्या screener बोलो.
Yeah. Anyways, I'll go briefly just because I think it's Varun, me, Amartya, and Ashwin in the order of how increase in the sort of ascending order of how much we like Close Encounters. Or Amartya and me can basically be on a similar page also. So
which again is very weird, by the way, if you go look at
true.
the track record
It
of
is-
what
it is true.
QID is.
I feel we have similar taste a lot of times in English films, though. I think it's a lot to do with the other Bollywood and
Yeah.
that stuff.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah. We are not going there. Don't worry.
Anyways, no. I was saying, yeah. So Varun, okay. Points of contention. Firstly, Richard Dreyfuss's performance is very good, in my opinion. I
He's
also
fine in
think
the movie.
no,
He's fine, bro.
I think he's like pretty good, and I get why the hysterics would be a turn off for some people. His hysterics, his brand of hysterics would be. I think there's a one. I mean, again, I messaged this on the group. There's one shot in which he does change for me almost entirely. It's heartbreaking for me. The split diopter one where when he puts the mashed potato and
Mashed
just
potatoes
keeps on
and
putting the
and
mashed
his
yeah,
wife is
yeah.
looking at him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and he just sinks into his chair, and then the camera switches to the to capture the
Son.
reaction of the son who's crying, looking at him. And I was like that, and then he goes nuts, like almost like a caricature nuts after in that big scene, which breaks the movie into going to Wyoming in some time. Then, so yeah, I mean, I thought there was variance in it, but I just wanted to get. I know you began by saying how it's about him, but what one of the great things about the first hour of the film is that I was astonished by how wildly divergent it was in terms of what points of view it was willing to capture about this reaction to this thing. So there's the main difference, I think, and which is why I think one of my favorite scenes in the film is when the woman's child gets taken by them.
Barry,
It's
yeah.
yeah, and because he says he talks about them as if they are toys, and she looks at it as if it's a monster waiting to gobble up her child or her house in that sense. So to me, the horror wonder thing, right, where it's very very that distinction is there in the first hour for me, where it's like there are many people in this place who are like actively curious to look at what this is. Maybe they think that it'll change their life. I also was thinking in the sense that with Dreyfus's character, what if a rational scientist sees an alien? Like, it's one of those things of, or an atheist sees something which they don't think, and then it's that response of, it must have some meaning, and sort of going to that conclusion with it. So, I mean, a lot of those things were playing in my head during the first hour, because I think it's very, I would say almost experimentally structured in how unwillingly it chooses which person to focus on. There's the Francois Truffaut thing, the military is doing their thing, and then there's this story, there's another story, and then I think those are the three main strands, if I remember
And
correctly.
there's a random scene in India where there are a
Oh,
bunch
there's
of
a
people
random scene in
chanting.
India.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
that
yeah.
came out of nowhere. I'm like,
Yeah, where they all
okay,
point
then.
upwards
Yes.
with the
But somehow they
sound.
found that music, the notes from India only.
India, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is actually maybe
The
an
key to the
acknowledgement of how
I
sort
don't
of-
think, Ashwin, you understand how old a civilization India is.
And I was while watching
Steven Spielberg is actually Indian. But anyway.
while watching
you
the film,
sound so much.
when
You
when they
sound so
point
much
up,
like
I
an
was thinking
NRI.
of Cris saying ki utha le re utha le from Hera Fairy. But no. No, but I think that for me the issue is the transition between the finale and the first section, which is the section where they go into Wyoming and they get inside this conspiracy theory with the whole thing. There's a great, again, Spielberg camera work, like, hand in hand almost all the time. I think it's one of the conversation sequences when Dreyfus is being interrogated by Truffaut and
Bob
who's the other
Balaban.
one? Bob Balaban.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when he's been interviewed by that, I might be remembering it wrong, but the whole thing about he shoots it in sort of short, reverse shot, and I think the final shot of it is that he's framed between the two of
He's
them.
framed between the
Yeah.
two and slightly upward. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's also an American in a room with another American
I
and
love-
a Frenchman,
yeah.
and he's the
Yeah.
outsider.
I
He's
love
not-
the whole that he's not like
He's not
the
even
highest
American.
highest
Yeah.
person in charge. He's not even American.
Well, he's not even
So
Yeah.
yeah, like all that stuff is good, but I think that climb up the mountain was the point where I was like, this is too action adventure for this movie. Like I'm like, this isn't another movie which Spielberg will direct very well separately. I think firstly it's too sped
It's
up.
called The Last Crusade.
Whatever it is. I've not
Yes.
seen the Indiana Jones film. Sorry.
But, did you know why Spielberg hated Schrader's script?
Why?
I quote, he
Listen,
said,
we will completely agree with Spielberg if he hates Shadow's Crew, but okay, bolo, yeah.
he said, I quote, they wanted to make it like a James Bond adventure. So it was worse than
Oh,
what
it
you're
was
talking
more
about.
adventurously
Paul Schrader
oriented.
What
making
was
a
he going to do?
James Bond?
Sleep with the bereaved mother the moment he met her?
God's lonely
No, no,
man.
no, no, no. She
God's
would be the
lonely man. I
savior,
am
not the
lonely.
monolith.
Yes.
Maybe I think the second half
Yeah.
was probably bigger with a lot of
And
adventure.
then they would end both in jail, one outside the
One
jail and
jail,
one
one
inside.
outside
What
the
And
jail
then
James
they
and
would.
Bond
another.
movie have you watched it?
No. This is the
That's Paul
Bresson. This is the
Schrader's
Bresson
James
thing.
Bond.
Yeah, this is the
Uh,
Bresson thing. Yeah, both of
Anyways,
them will be touching hands with the glass. वही तो
from
होगा.
through a glass.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyways, Spielberg didn't do that. I think for the better
Thank God.
in this
Yeah.
case. And we are making fun of Paul Schrader right now because, but anyways, we really like some of his work. So just to like,
We
you know,
really
yeah.
like Uncle Paul.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But no. We really like Uncle Paul's work. Sorry. We
Yes.
have to put that in
We have to put
context.
that in asterisk.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
don't like him now at this
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
Amartya
Uh,
says the wrong thing and then he says, then somebody else apologizes. He just agrees with the apology.
Yeah, because he has already done the work. I'm just agreeing with him.
Yeah, it's fair.
Na,
Anyways,
काम कर लिया.
anyways, my brief issue with the film is that sort of I think it's a 20 to 30-minute stretch in the film where I was like, okay, but is it like
Like
can we
right
just
from the time they go off-roading
no,
to
but I
the
like
mountain
I
climbing
like
stuff?
bits. No, I think the mountain climbing in particular is the bigger issue.
That's like a 5 or 10 minute sequence.
So
Yeah, it's
maybe
a
that
lot,
then, but like even like I think there's a drop off from when when he leaves his house essentially when the family drama ends. I think there's a bit
Yeah.
of there's something lost in the sort of his own
Yeah,
adventure.
it needed to be shorter. It's like 2 hours and 17 minutes long. I think somewhere you
Yeah.
make those sacrifices.
Then again, that's the director's cut, right? That was 17 minutes.
No,
The
I mean
theatrical
it's like
version was, I think,
2 minutes,
13.
2 minutes
Yeah, it's like
difference.
2 and
They're all
3
very
minutes
similar.
difference.
Yeah, very
not
minuscule differences.
Yeah.
But yeah, then the ending scene is I think a little over long, but I think it's very good. And I was surprised. I was telling Ashwin that I'm surprised how much he shows the aliens. I'm like, he doesn't need to. Even though they look, again, I would love the film to be more ambivalent about its outcome than it is. I think it is in the sense that if I read it in a sort of different way, it can be. But I think Spielberg goes for the too optimistic for me. Where he becomes Jesus Christ for them almost. It's like they're holding him like that also, and he's putting his hands across like this when he's entering the spaceship. I'm
I
just
mean,
like,
look at
okay.
you can look at it from a cynical point of view. The aliens are holding him from him. They're shouting, "Oh my God! Look, we have got a lab rat." So you can look
It's
at it
not
from
the
that
alien.
point of view.
No. I mean,
or
cynical-
the more troubling part is that he's willing to abandon his children and wife
Yes,
at the drop of a
that
exactly.
he's already
Exactly.
done. That
That
is
is
already
my
done.
No,
entire
there is still comeback from the
movie.
mountain. There's no comeback from spaceship.
He kisses the woman also, no?
Yes.
I mean,
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
That was
you are the supporter of
spur of
Kavi
the moment kind of
Alvidana.
No, I'm saying that I'm not
Like the
saying that it's a
hotel room.
right or wrong thing. I'm just saying the fact that
I'm just-
I think
yeah.
that family disconnect happens as soon as they leave, and them leaving very quickly is also a bit cruel. I have to say, like it doesn't feel. Yeah, it is cruel. No,
not.
Who are we talking
Right.
about?
Not at all. The
Hold on,
wife,
what are we
I
talking about?
was
it's
judging her for
totally
staying that
reasonable.
long.
Hold on.
It's
Are we talking about the
exactly
wife
same.
and the kids? Wife and the kids.
yeah, you don't think it's a little cruel? that
No,
they
I'm
don't-
not
She
at
had
all.
stayed
They-
even
they should
5
have-
minutes
she stayed
longer, I would have judged her.
She
Right,
stayed.
yeah.
She stayed way
Okay,
too long. She should
I
have
thought
left
okay, I felt a little bad for the
Yeah,
guy,
she-
but never mind.
The moment he was making mountain out of potato,
literal molehills. The fact that
That's
she
okay.
stuck around.
I think
that was too long.
she has a very the
She's a
actress. She has one of those chill voices where I'm like, lady, just like chill.
And let it be
Children are
known
also
that,
not
let it be
particularly
known that
well
Dhruv
behaved.
let it be known that Dhruv doesn't like Teddy Gar. Anyway.
No.
Oh my God.
In the film, she's
Yes.
given a role in which she has very little else to do other than be very like shriekily whiny, and I was just like. I get your dissatisfaction with your husband. Let me be very clear. I'm not doing a Cris here where I get pummeled for being, a misogynist. But Cris is again exasperated at this. I don't know why, but no. My point was that I was more sympathetic, I suppose, to the guy till a point also. So that's my main point. Anyways,
I mean, but
I
you
loved
also
it.
defend I mean, we've also had this conversation about like selfish characters and how forgiving are
Yeah.
we of them. And Dhruv has admitted to the fact that he's very forgiving of selfish characters, and
Of course I
the
am.
rest of us are not necessarily as
Why
forgiving.
would you not be forgiving of selfish
I
characters?
mean, this guy is like abandoning his children and all. I'm like, you got responsibilities, man, in life. Come on, you can't run away.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying that I think he's a nut job only. I'm not saying he's not a nut job. I'm
Yeah.
saying there's ways of dealing with that nut job. I think the family abandoning him doesn't help that at all. In fact, it probably in a normal film in which he doesn't become a conspiracy theorist, he commits suicide. Like, I'm saying that way.
No, sir, there are many
That sounds
more
like another
stages
Paul
left.
Schrader script.
I mean, he's
Anyways,
talking to
we
the wife and they're trying to
let's-
get back together and
Let's
all that
move
is
on. You
happening
guys
also.
are correct. You four think that.
No, sir, the
it's-
point is not
We are
that. I
not,
think
we
the
are not.
idea is that the film also doesn't necessarily engage with how accommodating he's willing to be or she's willing to be.
Neither
You
are willing
just
to
get
be.
that
No,
very.
but I
No,
think
they're having a
her,
conversation. No, that's the starting point.
but she looks at him like 2-3 days where he's like unemployed and like very
But
disheveled,
the
and I'm
fact
like,
that
yeah,
no,
take
but
him
the
to a
fact that
doctor.
you were but the fact that come
But
on,
he
it's
has
the
to be willing to
hold
go
on,
to a doctor.
hold on.
Yeah,
First
I
of all,
understand
he has
that.
to be willing to go to a doctor. Second of all, it's the 70s. If you go there, the societal
I
stamp.
understand that. I
That
understand
shit
that.
is also there.
I understand that.
Thirdly, there is a scene. There is a scene in the bathroom where he's slowly losing his marbles, and
Not slowly. I think he's lost it by then because he's like
anyway, the
sitting in
moment
Jalo lighting.
his wife is trying to say that things will be fine and all that, and
Yeah.
because he is a petulant man child, I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
that's exactly what he
No,
is.
no, but I'm not denying.
He
Yeah.
looks at his watch and he says, "Oh my God, look, it's waterproof." If the woman rightly loses
That
her
was
shit.
damn funny though.
That was funny. That
Yeah,
was
but
very funny.
I think their argument in the night makes sense to me in a sort of heated exchange. But then again, her decision makes sense. My point is, I was still a bit like, get him help somehow and then leave. Also, like just call for someone to be with him in that sense. But anyways, he has his
Yeah.
monolith. Yeah.
Can I go?
Yes, please.
Thank you. I literally have to ask permission though, but okay.
I mean, I'll
No,
cut this part where you ask permission, but yeah.
No, I think what struck me for Close Encounters is
Sorry, Amartya. I have to make this joke because I've seen Cris using a paper to fan himself again on because he's feeling too hot.
Pankha on है, sir. I was making sure the ink dried. It's very
Oh,
this
okay.
pen.
Sorry,
Okay.
Amartya, go ahead.
No, I think what struck me for Close Encounters mostly is the fact that I was awestruck by the cinematography.
Hmm.
I think Sigmund's cinematography is like utterly gorgeous. I also think that some of the wides that he shoots, especially like that sequence when the kid is kidnapped from the house, when
Hmm.
the ship is coming, the clouds are moving, slowly moving
Yeah.
closer and closer, and then the ships are descending down, that
Hmm.
those wide shots, it feels like the background there are matte paintings in the background, and there is a very strange mixing that is happening because
Yeah.
the depth of field and the lensing itself is very different. Like
Yeah.
most of the time I think I'm used to Spielberg working with
Kaminsky, yeah.
Kaminsky
They
and
worked 1993, so it's been a while now.
it's been a while, yeah. So mostly used to seeing him work in that front, and the previous work before Close Encounters was Jaws, and Jaws is as realistic. Jaws is as realistic as it could get. So considering from
that
to
shot of the
this,
fish blowing up,
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah,
It's
insane.
actually tragically romantic.
The Avatar
that
fan and
last-
Ashwin must be distraught.
Where did this come from?
With fish blowing up,
Why?
aren't the fish the friends of the avatars?
Yeah, but only on Pandora.
Acha, only in Pandora.
Let's
Okay.
move on. Let's move on. We are not delving into James Cameron unless
So
absolutely
much was
necessary.
shared at me and Cris and everybody else. कितना diversion खुद लाया है आदमी आज.
We're making
वही ना.
jokes, trying to make them at least. So, anyways,
The
Thank
quality
you for
of
the
the jokes,
clarification.
quality of the jokes are very debatable, but okay.
that's
But
okay. Fine.
thing about
But we are
this-
here to debate Close Encounters.
Yes,
Yeah, we
yes.
are. Yeah.
Yeah. What I also like, because I'm talking about the cinematography, what I really like is Spielberg should do more horror. Please, I mean, come on. The first scene where Roy is driving towards the spot where he is being called to, he sees in the beginning, he sees one of the cars like slowly ambling behind him, and he
Ambling, nice.
motions them to go away. And then the second time that happens, he sees two lights. He thinks those are cars, and then we see the lights levitating upwards. I'm like, that's such a fabulous choice.
Yeah. I think there's a
Fabulous
lot of
choice.
scenes actually, just to add to this, a lot of scenes in the first hour, especially where it's each scene construction. I've seen it like I've seen Close Encounters twice now. So each scene construction is there, like all the pieces of the setup and payoff for each scene are
Each
there
scene,
in
yeah.
even there's the next scene with the toothpaste where he keeps on
Yes.
putting it on his hand, and then
Yes.
that sort of comes to
Is
play
that
when he has to.
toothpaste or shaving foam?
And that's
It's a
shaving
shaving
cream. That's
foam,
not toothpaste.
whatever it
Shaving
was.
foam, yeah.
Shaving foam. And then he that scene ends with him slapping it on his wife
On his
slapping it
face.
on his
Yeah,
on his
on
face.
his face, yeah.
So it's one of those things. But this one is, I think, my favorite also. And the comedy of him then turning on the flashlight was
Yes.
insane.
Yes.
So
And
yeah,
every time we see him, we see how Spielberg essentially takes a claustrophobic space and then expands. In the first
yeah,
instance, is the car, because
yeah,
that is the section where the first close encounter happens.
yeah,
So that sequence, spectacular sequence, how
yeah,
he basically increases the engine crank, it's
yeah.
fuel light, all that stuff.
Mm.
He makes it terrifying. He expands that and multiplies that tenfold when the ship actually, you know, levitates over the house. Keeping this in mind that special effects aren't used so much, so most of it is always implication.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's a Jaws
we
say
don't
direct like that though, as I
yeah,
think.
yeah,
Yeah,
we don't see the spaceship levitating, but we understand that something is happening because the house is shaking,
yeah.
and the kid is running about. The wife is
There's the
losing her
monkey
mind.
prop, right?
Yeah,
The one which
yeah,
starts clapping the things
clapping.
Yeah.
as soon as the signal is coming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the wife is
Another
losing
movie
her
I watched
mind.
recently which had a monkey prop.
The
I'm
monkey.
forgetting.
Mm,
No.
Okay.
Ashwin, did Hokum have a monkey doing something?
Might be. He seems like someone who would be into
Yeah,
that.
yeah, he
don't
might use
remember
something like that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But
That elevator button, I think, that has a monkey with the dhol.
Oh,
the
yeah.
the
Yeah.
best
Dhol.
Yeah,
the best
literally.
the best part about the house being basically haunted or being used as a tool to kidnap the boy is the fact that the boy finally crawls through the door, and the mother
Through
is
the
trying to
flap.
pull
Yeah.
him back, and then he just leaves, and the glow through that, it's
Yeah.
like he's been sucked into a portal or something.
Mm.
It's legitimately terrifying, and how
And it's
he
orange, so it's hot
Orange.
or
yeah
like fire or whatever other implications you might
yeah
want
Were you
to.
thinking about Agni and all that?
no, pulled into hell, more like, not Agni.
Okay.
Thank you.
Lava.
Lava,
More
more
like
like
molten lava, yeah.
molten
Okay.
lava. I also agree with Varun. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I also agree with Varun to a certain extent regarding the hysterics, because I think the fact that he loses his mind and then starts to break up, pull the plants out and then throw them into the house, and then try to essentially sculpt the entire mountain in his living room.
Yeah.
And that section where he's slowly losing his mind, even I was like, I get it, but this is becoming a
Okay.
tad bit too much
I
to a
quite
certain
like
degree.
that section, but yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean,
I understand what
I think
he's
the
going
section's
for.
nice. I think the thing over there is
Your
the
performance didn't
pushback
work
you're
for you,
getting
na?
is,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, performance doesn't work, but the other thing is that that's definitely where the wife should leave.
Yeah,
Because he's
I mean,
completely
yeah.
like,
Yeah,
it
but
goes
I
back
think
to
I
that
think
only.
morality of the characters is not even being brought into question. I'm just saying, as a form of construction of narrative or the construction of the film's progression itself, I felt that section is where the vibes or where the shifting of the genre happens, because
Yes.
essentially then it becomes like a quest.
Yeah.
Essentially it becomes like a quest after a point, because he realizes that the mountain is what he has been seeing in his vision all along.
Yeah.
And so then he
Doesn't that remind you
rushes.
of another film,
Ugh,
Mountain in Visions?
More decision to leave.
I'm moving on.
Yeah.
I'm moving on. Anyway,
Amartya
so
got it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Shona
I was like,
Bella.
what is? Oh,
Yeah,
I thought my other thing was a Mountain Dew ad,
no,
but
no,
never
no, no,
mind.
no, no, no,
Okay.
no, no, no,
Dhruv has to jump to like the
no.
either the
Worst
very
implications.
good conclusion or like where he went to decision to leave, or he's like
Or the
Mountain
worst
Dew commercial.
implication. Yeah.
There's no
No.
in between.
Extreme sell, sir, is what
No.
I've gotten. So, yeah.
And then again, if I look into what the car chase and the quest and the governmental, the governmental interference, I wouldn't even call it interference. I would like the governmental curiosity and their propensity to just hide everything.
Yeah.
Intervention, sir. I mean, it's the
Intervention.
government's job.
Yeah. No, but again, the point being that it definitely reminds me of, like, of course, Spielberg, I think, is referencing the same thing, the Project Blue Book, essentially, 1950 to 1969, the UFO, all the UFO, the
But that
Area
time it was a
51, blah
lot to do
blah
with
blah blah
Cold War, no?
conspiracy. Yeah,
And
blah
so does
blah
that.
conspiracy and all
Yeah.
that
I mean,
stuff.
this is
Which,
still a Cold War film.
yeah,
Sure.
which by the way,
Yeah, but in this,
is okay.
the people on the UFO are good guys or seemingly good guys.
Then again, seemingly good guys is also because Spielberg hopes, essentially,
Yeah,
because in that way it is hopeful that the aliens aren't, malevolent.
Yeah.
Sneakily reminds me of Arrival in that scenario,
No,
especially
not
considering.
sneakily. Arrival is there entirely in this. Like Arrival has
No,
taken a lot.
it's like the third act, essentially, which also what I was talking with Dhruv about, that Close Encounters is very influential. I never expected it to be this influential. That it took me by surprise.
Yeah. The other film
Because-
I was thinking about was have you guys seen Midnight Special by
Yes.
Jeff Nichols?
Yes, I have seen
Jeff
Midnight
Nichols,
Special.
right? Yeah, I
Yeah,
really
Jeff
like
Nichols.
that film, but it's a similar sort of thing. It's again a
Michael Shannon, right?
Michael
Michael
Shannon, Kirsten Dunst,
Yes.
yeah, Adam Driver.
Kid has superpowers and the government is chasing him, basically.
Yeah.
And like that is the whole scenario. Again, the Project Blue Book aspect of it all, like there are true cases, there are quote unquote cases or quote unquote theories where people would allege that they would be kidnapped by aliens, they would be experimented on, and then they would be left with gaps in their memory, blah blah blah, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure if there are aliens, they are not picking such idiots.
I wouldn't
Idiots
know.
are easy to experiment on, sir.
Yeah, that's also
They'd
possible.
want to know more about the best of mankind. I don't think they're worried about the worst.
How are
The
they going to
best-
identify who the best of mankind
That's
is?
also
That's
true,
also a
yeah.
question, right?
They'll at least get to know how low the bar is with this.
So we know that Cris is the first to be taken. Got it.
Got it. Yeah. Also, there's the fact that
He'll be shown Close Encounters to start
yeah,
with.
fully closest encounter.
What Ludovico technique, basically.
Yes.
No, I thought Dhruv will go to Hamshakals.
I don't remember that. Anyways, Ashwin, please chime in. You are the one who loves this the most, so you have to fight with your other person after this directly.
I'm not fight. Oh yeah, Cris. Okay.
Yeah.
We
Malayali
usually
versus
on the same
Malayali.
page with most movies.
Basically an assembly election all over again.
Oh God.
Please go ahead, Ashwin.
At least Dhruv is just annoyed my jokes actually get laughs and his are just looked at with blank faces. Sorry, Ashwin.
Both have their appeal, sir. Yeah.
Yeah. See, my approach to like all of Spielberg films have like considerably changed after I watched The Fablemans.
Yeah.
So I immediately look for broken families, like regardless of the genre. So like when I rewatched Close Encounters, that it is that subtext of it that just hooked to me. So when you guys talk about the genre shifts and how what do you say, like when he takes like sharp turns and all, like it doesn't bother me because I was mostly invested in the family thing. So like I think for the listeners, I'll just talk about the Fablemans a little bit because my entire thing is like based
Linked
on
to
that.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So The Fablemans is a semi-autobiographical film made by Spielberg like 3-4 years ago, in which he portrays the events of his life when he was around as a teenager, where his parents were getting a divorce. His mom falls in love with his dad's best friend. So it was a very traumatic, influential event in his life that has considerably influenced like basically every film of his. So in this movie, like there are like two things that I link to this broken family thing. I mean, I guess this movie is applicable to all three films that we're going to discuss today. Like it's present in ET as well, and there is a mommy thing in artificial intelligence
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well. But to me, like outside of Fablemans, this is Close Encounters is where it is like most prevalent and it's most like shown like in raw, intensity. Like
Yeah.
as Dhruv was talking about, like the kids scenes, and it's very emotional. Like
Not
they're
Catch Me If You
so
Can, where the exact same thing plays out as well. The mom falls in love with the father's best friend. He's a
Really?
runaway from home. Yeah.
I need to rewatch it to have any
Yeah,
input.
probably.
I need to rewatch it. I watched it a long time ago.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Yeah, and it's not the kind of film you dissociate because it's a caper kind of comedic. So
okay.
its
So-
tone is completely different. Its tone is completely different, right?
Acha.
Even if it's got the same sort of
Sure.
elements.
Acha, I
to
thought
it.
you were making a dig at me for not liking capers and all. I was like, okay,
Sir,
No.
sir, I loathe to repeat this, but not everything is about you. Let's
No,
move on.
sir. When spoken by Varun, most of it is, sir. So you know this, which is why
Yes,
I
yes,
did,
I do,
did
I do,
question
I
it.
do.
Yes.
I do.
Okay.
Sorry,
I'm
sorry,
just
sorry,
saying.
Ashwin.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like there is one of the introductory scenes of the family, like in which they're like sitting at the dining table, and this is before the encounter, I think. And on the left side, you can see like the domestic part of the house with there's a bassinet, there's a kid like
Yeah.
playing with the toy, like hitting it, like it's very annoying. And there is another boy there, like sitting on the table and talking to me about some math
Oh
or
yeah,
something.
yeah.
But
Pinocchio.
on the right side,
Yeah.
and the,
Fractions.
like
You can't do
60% of the right side of the
fractions, yeah.
frame is like his garage kind of thing.
Yep.
I felt like that entire part of the house, like that part of the frame is like his thing, his obsession, the things that he wants to do. But he's totally like frustrated by this family life thing. There are like two kids yelling, the wife is nagging about something, she wants to go see a movie or something. The kids want to go for like golfing. And the joke of the thing is like it's kind of like a static shot. And like after like 2-3 minutes into the scene, the third child, like girl child, walks in, like to add to all the mess of it all. So like I really love that shot, and like that's where I'm like, okay, this is what it's all about. Like he's not present, he's not a present dad. Like he's
Isn't his
distracted.
first
It's
line
kind of like
essentially
it's kind
your
of like a
problems are not my
midlife
problem or
crisis
something
kind
like
of
that?
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry?
No problem.
Yeah. One of
He
his
basically
first
said,
lines.
I
Yeah.
graduated so that I didn't have to do fractions. And
Yeah.
he's
Don't
completely
mix that.
divorced from his child's
Yeah.
day-to-day life.
Yeah.
There's also, I mean, it's good you brought up Fablemans because Fablemans has the whole thing hinging on the train
Train.
because
Yes.
of his
fully.
fascination, right? And it's got a reference over here as well.
And I
Yes.
also think because the Fablemans is about Spielberg essentially entering into the filmmaking journey, Close Encounters, like
Yeah.
even from a chronological standpoint, Close Encounters is like his third feature, right?
I mean,
Yes,
he
I'm
made
not-
he made one of
fourth or
the
fifth feature.
Sugar
fourth of his
Land
feature.
something I forgot.
Sugarland Express, Duel,
Duel,
Jaws,
Jaws,
fourth.
and then this.
Fourth
Fourth.
one. Yeah.
Fourth.
Yeah, so the fact that he's going to evoke or bring in references of what affected him, or bring forth all these options or all these choices, that's not surprising. But again, it feels nice to see that,
Yeah.
and like you said, Dhruv, every time we watch the Fablemans, we are always looking at the horizon at this point.
I mean, I know people love the lynch scene. For me, that's a bonus to the rest of the film.
Yeah, it is
I
an
really
epilogue.
enjoy
only.
It is an
Yeah, but
epilogue
like-
only, yeah.
But it's not. I only like it for the way it nods to the scene later as he exits
Yeah,
Ford's
it like
office,
just
and the
like
camera goes down and then it corrects the
Yeah,
horizon.
yeah.
Corrects itself, yeah.
But,
Sir,
but
that's because
good you called.
you're not a lynchy, no? A lynchy.
Lynchian.
Like
No,
lynchy.
and also, I mean, my own thing was, why would you cast Lynch as John Ford? But I mean,
Sir, it's a
because
double thing.
Yeah,
It's a
it is.
double,
It is.
yeah.
But good you brought up Fablemans also, Ashwin, because that is also an episode on Queen is Dead. People who want to listen to Dr. Aryan Vyas, Dhruv, and me talk about it.
I'm very proud of you.
Dhruv regrets that episode because that's the first time I was invited by
Were you?
Queen is Dead to record
Oh, then I
anything.
don't
Yeah, that was the first time. Yeah.
That is sad times. Anyways,
Yeah,
yes.
sorry, go ahead.
Huh.
It's interesting.
so
Sorry. One interesting observation also that you made was that the daughter comes in at the end,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because even in E.T., the daughter's the youngest.
Daughter is the
The
youngest.
girl child in his movies is always the least annoying child. That's, I
Very
think
pre-
that's
they are very
probably because
precocious. They're also very precocious and they're
Huh,
very emotionally resonant also in a way.
Spielberg has
You
more
don't think
daughters than
she's
he has
annoying?
sons.
You don't think it's
Yeah.
annoying when she dresses up E.T. like whatever she dresses up
No,
E.T.
she's a
like?
child. She's a
Okay.
child, right? It's that.
Okay.
If Elliot were to do that, you'd be like, "Kya kar raha hai yaar? Come on."
He's also a
He's supposed to
child,
be a
sir.
friend, but he's supposed to be his friend, right? To
Sure,
her, it's a
okay.
doll. It's
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Anyways, we'll get to E.T. soon. But yeah,
Yeah.
Ashwin, more thoughts before we jump into the deep end.
Yeah,
Yes,
so what I was
fully.
We
saying
get
is,
thrown into the deep end.
Yeah.
it's his obsession. The dad gets obsessed with something, and he moves away. It's like it's he finds a new project to get out of this mess.
Yeah.
So in from that line of thought, I could actually get him, and to me, like the meat of the film is that the sculpting scene. Like it's like where everything breaks down. Like he's completely locked into this obsession over it, and the wife leaves. So in a way, like when I'm looking at this film as like Spielberg doing therapy of sorts, like the story that he wants to tell, the story that he eventually told in the Fablemans decades later, ends when that family leaves. Like the mom
Yeah.
takes 3 kids and leaves. Uh, and the rest of it is like an epilogue of that story where he's rationalizing it. Like in the story, like, it's like a fantastic story where like he's like my dad left me. Like I mean in real life it's like mom, like in the movie it's like the parental figure is the dad. The dad left for like a higher purpose. Like why would he leave this family? Like so from a child's point of view, like a parent is parent first and the human being second. Like
Yeah.
whatever priority they have outside of the parenting part is like a very shocking thing to like children. So like I see like this 30-year-old Spielberg still like looking at the breakup of his family and
Sure.
like rationalizing through
I mean,
the
the
story.
other thing
Like a
posited
very
is that
grand story of
it's
like
his.
you know,
Sorry, Ashwin, go ahead.
yeah, like communicating with aliens. It's like like a galactic proportions. Like
Yeah.
I thought of like the shrouds in that movie. Like Cronenberg is like made about like the death of his wife. Like he made like a global conspiracy.
Yeah,
Here,
yeah, yeah.
like Spielberg, like made like when Jaws made like 450 million with like
Sure.
9 million budget. Like when he got free reign, he just went ahead and made this therapy movie for the trauma that he suffered, and
Yeah.
he's trying to rationalize like what happened with his parents.
Yeah.
So I think it's one of his most personal movies, and I was like, completely blown away. And you guys have talked about the technical aspects of it, so I don't have to go.
I think
Flip
also
it over.
because
Okay. Sorry, I thought I
Jaws
little
also
misunderstood.
earned him a fair amount of criticism from like higher minded film intellectuals and
Okay.
even like people on talk shows and all who were like, it's absolutely unfair that Hitchcock, for instance, I think they picked Hitchcock as an example. They said Hitchcock's made 50 films. His films together have not made 450 million. This punk made one movie and that's made 450 million. It's just not on.
I mean,
So
well,
they turned it into a debate that
I
he had
can't
no
even
control over.
I can't even
Right?
imagine what would have happened in 1977 when Star Wars became the
oh,
massive
I
hit.
know. Yeah.
I mean, but by then, because Jaws had already broken that summer blockbuster kind
Yeah.
of thing,
Hmm.
and enough people were milling, and Star Wars was culturally a phenomenon, right? It was completely.
I
It
mean,
was like
Jaws, thodi na, everyone won't
Jaws.
become the
Jaws was
shark
not
and
a
roam
cult,
around.
yeah.
No.
Because no, Jaws caused businesses to drop down
On the beaches and all.
side
Yeah.
areas. You couldn't take kids to watch it because so much blood in the film.
That movie's PG, right?
I mean, at that
It's
time it probably was, but most parents, I think, preferred not to take their children because people got
Oh,
scared of it.
yeah.
Right? There is a fair amount of blood in the movie.
Oh, very well used. Like it knows when to
Beautifully.
use it
Yeah.
very well. Yeah.
But
Yeah, I was doing my transition where Ashwin said something about personality, and I was switching over to Cris because he has a wild
Few.
take on this.
Oh, I
So,
thought you were about to accuse him of having like multiple personality
oh,
disorders.
nahi, sir. I was saying, Chris, please, indulge
Wouldn't even be an
us.
accusation. Anyway.
So the take is not wild by any means. I just
Okay.
I think fundamentally my problem is in a sense, especially listening to you guys, I don't know much about Spielberg as a filmmaker, even though I
But
watched
then
a fair few of his
I would
films.
say that should not be a prerequisite to liking his
I
film.
understand that,
Yeah.
but I think it makes sense because of how you guys are talking about it, at least for me. Because again,
Okay.
I'm watching this film in a different context than when it was made, etc. There's a lot of stuff that kind of unmoors me from this film in general. I've not seen Fablemans. I don't know much about Spielberg at all, even though I've seen a good number of his films. So my problem is that I don't get this film in that I don't know what it's about. That
Okay.
is fundamentally my problem. Like, you guys are, when you guys are describing it in context of, you know, his personal life, etc., etc., okay, now I can probably reconsider it. But watching it, I was like, I don't know what this film is trying to do.
Okay.
Because I think fundamentally for me it's a question of spectacle, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm trying to I was trying to think about this, and I was trying to put like these three films as well as Jaws, which I watched recently, on the kind of spectrum between spectacle and sentimentality, or spectrum, or at least the combination of these things, right?
Yeah.
To me, Jaws is a film that is full spectacle, no sentimentality particularly to it at all, which is why I admire it, but I don't particularly like adore it, right? Say E.T. on the other hand is for me a perfect balance of sentimentality and spectacle, which is what I prefer. So that's what really works for me. This film to me doesn't, like, it's all spectacle and it tries to be sentimental, but the two don't ever click, or don't
I
like
don't
it's
think
like
it is very sentimental. At least it didn't
I don't
sentimental,
strike.
or
think
at
it's
least
sentimental at all.
emotional.
It's
Or
not.
Yeah,
let's say,
emotional, sure.
let's not say, I mean, sentimental is probably the wrong word to use. I'm saying emotional. Like,
Yeah.
because
Right.
Jaws to me, there's no emotionality per se. It's kind of just
You
the
don't
adrenaline
like
or
the
the
scene where they drink wine together in the. There's a lot of quiet moments in Jaws, though, I feel.
yeah, but that's kind of reflective. That's not particularly emotional to me.
Sure.
The
Okay.
same way.
I was going to make a joke that Chris doesn't like heterosexual camaraderie. Then I'm like, that would have been too rude. But ठीक
I like that scene,
No,
sir.
no, he liked the movie quite a bit. He was like quite scared in it.
I was
Jaws
like-
पसंद है, of course.
Yeah.
But ठीक है, बोलो.
But here, like, you know, for example, with the Richard Dreyfuss character, I'm just like, there are, like, you're talking like the split diopter shot is great. I felt that emotion for that second, but I don't know what that is in context. I couldn't figure out what is that in context of. There are great scenes. The scene of the UFO behind the car, of the child getting, you know, abducted, etc., etc. They're great moments, but I don't understand what it is trying to say fundamentally, because I feel like neither is it committed to spectacle alone entirely, nor is it particularly committed to this kind of unknown, because that's a concept I really enjoy in cinema. I didn't feel it particularly drawn there, nor did this family drama, or that, like, for example, his mania. Is it, I don't understand, because you are saying, okay, his wife left him, or, you know, should he have done this? I don't know how much agency he has in the whole thing. Is it a kind of obsessive mania where he doesn't have a choice, where he's kind of, you know, drowning in the whole thing,
No.
where he
Can
has
I
no
can I
control?
can I
I'll
answer
just-
this?
Sure.
Can I think that if you look at it in the first scene, he literally says that, you know, he's obsessed by showing his child a movie like Pinocchio.
Yeah.
Right. We also see him, if you see in his rooms, you see so much of like knickerknackers and all that stuff, toy train and everything. So there is always a sense that he's trying to fix something. He's trying to be obsessed about something that is quote unquote mechanical, that should be fixed, like something to be constructed, something that he could
Sure.
focus deeply his mind on. Except the one thing that he should have focused his mind on, that is his family.
Family.
And the other thing that struck me really this time around is the fact that whenever he's worried, and notice how Spielberg edits this, when he finally realizes the shaved off head of the mountain, background score is diegetic score. It's the TV sound of an episode. It's a Looney Tunes episode of The Martian. Okay.
Interesting.
And that's the Chuck Jones Looney Tunes cartoons, which, by the way, if people have seen the Looney Tunes cartoons, they're very out there. Okay. So and that cartoon and everything. So we see that when he's completely shell shocked or whatever, and when he's completely flabbergasted, he sees the Looney Tunes cartoon and he's enjoying the cartoon itself. And I think in that moment, I realized that this is a guy who is essentially a man-child. he doesn't like responsibility. He doesn't care about
So
responsibility.
are
He
you
doesn't
telling me
want
that
responsibility.
E.T. and Close Encounters is basically Spielberg's Eraserhead as a piece together, considering
I
E.T.
would.
looks like Eraserhead's baby?
I don't know whether it is Eraserhead, but I think that E.T. and Close Encounters very much feel like they're part of a piece.
Yeah, they're flips of flip
I think the dad.
POVs of each
I
other.
think
Yeah.
in E.T. the dad being dad being in Mexico is very
Yeah.
much kind
Yeah.
of evoking that
And it's
sentimentality.
filled with
Mex-
wonder as opposed to horror, like the element of horror, because it's about a child's
Hmm.
person
Yeah.
who finds a sort of likeness.
And Mexico could easily be transplanted for outer spaceship gone
Sure,
or
yeah.
whatever, get the
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, that's what I
So-
felt, Chris, but yeah.
No, I get, but again, that to me wasn't translated into films just because once you've added this kind of extraterrestrial science fiction layer to it, then to me, my expectations, my suspension of disbelief is very different. So then I can very much buy that, it's kind of a mania that has taken over him, that he has no
Like
agency in
like he's been affected by the alien thing only.
aliens,
Okay,
because you're
okay.
getting this vision, etc., etc. So that's where I kind of agree with you, where the reaction of the family feel or the wife feels
okay.
a little bit
Okay,
that
okay.
they're abandoning him, right? Because it's like, to me, I read it that way, that this is something he doesn't have control over,
Sure.
and that it's so fundamentally that is the problem. I can just say maybe I watched this film wrong. Like I don't know how else to articulate
How
it.
did you watch it?
I watched it. What do you mean? How did
You
I
said
watch
you
it?
watched this film. Like, how did you watch this? And like, how many segments did you watch it in? How
Actually,
long did you watch?
relatively small. I would have watched like maybe 2 or 3 segments, which is pretty
I mean, you were
decent for
bored. That's why I was saying that. How many
Yeah,
segments did you
I
take?
was. That's middle section.
Did you not?
Took the
So
life
okay.
out of
So
me.
was there a point where
That
you
mid
were?
section is the point, right? We
No,
all of
not
us can agree on
not
that to a certain degree.
necessarily. There
Is
were
there a
even
point
sections.
where the film like totally lost you? I'm asking ki there are there segments where you were like more
I
invested?
don't think I ever bought in, to be very honest.
Sure,
From the
okay.
very beginning, I was
Okay.
just. I would say maybe I think till the car sequence, I quite liked it. The first encounter.
Yeah.
After that, I just never found the rhythm. I'm still saying that Spielberg is a fantastic director, because he's still got there's the scene where he builds the tower, and there's the TV screen in the background where they're showing it, and he's on the phone looking away from it.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
literally like, oh my God, can you please turn around and look at the damn thing? Like, why are you doing? Like, it still got that reaction out of me, because it is very well directed, but I just didn't get it. I don't get what the Francois Truffaut arc is about. I don't get because again, by showing the aliens also, I think to me you're defeating the purpose if your point is the unknown, because then you're bringing the unknown into the world of the known. So you either keep it entirely of the unknown, or so fundamentally it did not come. Like, I still, even after listening to you guys, I don't know what the film is about. I think that's fundamentally my problem.
Communication.
I mean, I don't
What?
think that-
I can only tell you this. I
About
think
what?
it's about I think it's
About
like
the
Varun,
inability
like
to
it's Varun had
communicate,
said, right? It's about the
think
unknown. It's
sometimes.
about discovery of the unknown, obsessed with the unknown at the
Obsession, I
cost
think,
of
also.
at the cost of ignoring,
Also a good film,
ignoring
guys.
what should work for you.
No, but then again, how does the wife factor into? I mean, the other wife, the other
No,
lady
so okay,
factor into it.
I'll put it this way. Like, I don't necessarily I see value in what Ashwin says about Fablemans. I don't think about Fablemans at all when I watch a Spielberg film, because I believe that is, at least to my experience, detrimental.
Okay.
yeah,
as
that
to
is
how I
extra
understand his
context.
cinema.
That is extra
Yeah,
context.
I
that
mean,
can
these are all
no, no.
rewatches. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So and I love the Fablemans. I think it is.
Yeah, you do.
I mean, he really sort of redeemed himself after West Side Story, which I had lots of problems with.
Okay.
And in some parts, I hated it, because I was like, these
I
Italian
mean,
American.
the main part you hated it was the actor,
Ansel
so it's
Elgort,
fine.
I definitely hated. I mean, I thought Rachel
I
Zegler was
understand
magical,
that
but
part.
like,
Yes,
Ansel
I
Elgort
understand.
is
Yeah.
worse than plywood.
Sure.
In terms of like expression.
Understood. Thank you.
Right. But the thing is, I think with close encounters, the obsession is one thing. It's also that as an adult, your avenues are so limited, right? Like, as a child, all children basically have some form of attention deficit. They'll keep things, they keep changing what they're curious about, like, or or the
I mean,
fact that you
actually,
don't have any
Varun,
fatigue as a child.
just to bring in, I mean, we won't transition now, but just to bring in ET, there's the whole idea that he literally says that we we can see him, adults can't see him, and a lot of the film's jokes revolve around how they are maneuvered within the house
Yeah,
when the mother can
is there?
genuinely
Yeah,
see him,
Yeah,
but
yeah, that
she's
gag,
so
that
busy
gag
doing
basically,
everything
yeah.
that
busy doing everything. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Like you miss out on so much of day-to-day life. I
yeah,
realize as an adult because
yeah.
everything is filled with purpose. As a child,
Mm,
what is your purpose?
mm.
Nothing really. I mean, most children, if you're growing up, I don't know why I'm having to like give these warnings, but if you're growing up in like a healthy environment, tomorrow somebody will say you're not thinking about the underprivileged children. I am thinking about them. They have it very tough. But like
No,
if you're growing up in like the environment these kids are living in, you have nothing to worry about. Except like
Yeah, you have
yeah, in this these are
family
probably the
issues.
worst behaved children in a Spielberg film by a
Oh,
mile.
really?
Like
Okay.
yeah.
Or
I
is it
mean,
just
like
that they highlight it? He highlights
I
it here.
probably that too, but
Yeah.
like
but it's
if you,
also, I
I mean,
think it's
the kid
also,
from AI's his assholery is a bit justifiable because he's like my parents are trying to
no,
replace me,
but no, but Varun,
and
don't you
Yeah, so
think that's
let me
also like an
drown the
implication? That's also
person.
like an
Sir, he's
implication
a
Yeah.
on the
child.
guy's failure as a dad.
I have
yeah, it
zero
is.
sympathy for that
He's
child, but okay.
completely out of his depth as a parent and
Yeah,
as a functional adult.
I think he's
functional adult.
he's out of
This
his
gives
depth
him
in
an out.
general, I think. Yeah.
This gives him an out. The
Yeah.
lady ka gig is, I think, I think they are also like he is there to fulfill his own innate
Yeah, yeah.
curiosity.
No, I think the
He has
lady ka,
no such thing. It is only her child. So
the,
the thing of people of the same age, how they are responding to the same situation, but how
Differently. Like,
the
I mean,
lady ka gig is
it's
also the fact that the lady, I don't think it was implied. I think the lady is a single mom. It was never
yeah.
shown,
yeah, it
but
is.
the
She is.
lady is a
She's
They
a
single
single
asked
mom.
mom.
they ask her what about your
Yeah,
husband or
lady is a
something or
single
something.
mom.
Yeah.
So the
Aapke Mr. kahan
contrast
hai?
between a man child who is who
Yes.
is irresponsible and a
Yeah,
woman
yeah.
who
Who's
has
a single
lost her
mother?
child, who is a
Hmm.
single mother who has lost her child to a circumstance that is beyond her
They
control.
need the
Beyond.
aliens, Chris,
Yes,
hmm, to
essentially. And
find
it's like,
purpose in their life,
hmm.
is
And
what the film is saying.
both of them, like there is a
Yeah,
which
I
is again
watched
an
a
issue
film
with the
about that,
movie.
which I think is better than this and has a
Oh,
better
fuck
tune.
off.
Which is again,
Sorry,
I
one
think,
of
an
it's
issue
used.
with this film. Again, an issue with this film for me is the fact that I felt that the woman should have been the central character.
The
But
central
again,
Fair,
character.
yeah,
fair.
I think probably because so Spielberg, there was an
Does he
HBO docu
have
film on Spielberg.
women characters at the forefront a lot of times? No,
The
right?
Help.
No, no,
The Help.
Spielberg, not the
Oh,
help.
Spielberg. Sorry, The
Yeah,
Color Purple.
the color purple.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
I was
color
like the
purple.
help.
I'm
When
sorry. I'm
did the
sorry.
Spielberg direct the help?
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
Yeah.
I would say Post is probably
Oh
in
yeah,
modern times. Post comes close.
it's a bit
West
hokey,
Side
but yeah,
Story kind of
yeah,
come. I mean, yeah, the Post is very much let's get this done quickly. It's still a well-made film.
yeah.
I don't like the performances much, but
Hmm.
Okay.
I think it's a
Hmm.
snazzy script, and it's like a if All the President's Men is your A movie, then the Post is
Post
the
is your
same
B
story,
side.
but the
Post is the B
B-side.
side. Yeah. If you're talking about
Anyways,
the
Chris,
So
sorry,
sets.
you please
I think
expand
Emily
on
Blunt
your
is going to be the big
grievances.
lead now,
In
I suppose, in
In
the
the
Disclosure
Disclosure
Day.
Day, yeah.
what about Mr. Connor?
They're co-leads, right? I mean,
Okay,
it's
Mhm.
against again a quest in that sense. I'm trying to think of any more Spielberg films
with
that have
quests, that's all of them.
that
No,
have
with
women in.
Oh,
women
acha, okay.
characters as
Uh,
main
I mean,
focus.
Michelle Williams
I
is
mean,
fairly central to
it's fairly central.
Fablemans.
Yeah, yeah.
But
The
if you
performance
think
I
about the
don't like, shockingly, I
irritating
suppose.
wife is also there in Jaws, but
She is
I
not
would
irritating.
she's
She is
quite
caring.
irritating. No, she's quite irritating only.
Mm.
But I think that also goes back to the fact that Spielberg, unlike all his other peers at this point, is still unmarried. So his idea of marriage is still coming from the thing of it'll tie me down. I don't
Hmm.
want this. Like his peers have all said this in the documentary about him. There was no space for drinking, drugs. So none of the vices and none of the female company or
Hmm.
friendship beyond cinema also did not exist in his life.
He was a
Cinema
nerd,
was
so we love him
everything.
on
Yeah,
that
yeah.
account. Yeah.
And but it reflects also then in some of
Hmm.
his cinema. Like a more mature Spielberg, I mean, he was asked how would you do Close Encounters differently. He's
Hmm.
like, I wouldn't have him as I made that as a man who's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
married.
He won't leave in the end.
He wouldn't leave the kids.
Hmm.
But I think this character not leaving the kids makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
this
hinges so much on
this
that.
character, so being this quote unquote selfish only in a way, because the quest is the out essentially.
Yeah.
His quest is the out for the life that he essentially fails. So
Hmm.
Yep.
him leaving his kids actually makes sense.
Yeah.
That's kind
Chris,
of
have we
that's kind of-
answered your question in a long-winded way?
Sure, but I don't see it as my problem. Again, I'm open to admit that maybe I just don't get it. There's something. There's just like sometimes you just don't get,
Of course.
or like
Yeah,
you just
no, it's-
maybe.
And you
Uh,
can
y-
have reasons for disliking it without being
No,
able
yeah,
to
I mean,
provide
I-
many also.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're not
sure,
me. Dhruv is not going to hate you for it.
Yeah.
No, Dhruv does hate me for my takes on films plenty. That
See,
maybe would
see,
have-
I
hated
hate
the
you. See,
AI or
I
something.
hate you for despising some of the classics. I don't get why, but ठीक है, वो फायदा
He hates
क्या ही और कर-
everything I like. It's so like honestly, it's like a
Sir, I
nightmare.
like a lot of things you like. Come on.
No, not you. I was
Come on.
talking about the person, this
Okay.
host of today,
Sir, I like plenty of stuff.
which I don't
आप
like.
देख कर आओ
Probably.
The Sheep Detectives and you tell me if it's any good.
अरे, I wanted to see that movie. यार.
Bye.
I couldn't get the time. I wanted to see that movie. I heard
Anyways,
it's excellent.
Any more
Yeah,
thoughts
so-
on Close Encounter? I've taken over.
Who
host,
said it's
please.
excellent?
I have heard it's excellent. I don't
It's
know.
not excellent, it's fun.
It's good. Okay, ठीक है. चलो.
Moving away from
But
the
moving on
sheets.
from like selfish man children to
Actual
actually
children.
fairly welcoming kids in
Yeah.
E.T. the Extraterrestrial.
Stay here, stay. And don't tell anybody. No, nobody. Be good, be good.
Oh, God!
Elliot.
What?
Elliot. I taught him how to talk now. He can talk now. Elliot. Look what he brought up here all by himself. Elliot. What's he need this stuff for? Elliot. E.T., can you say that? Can you say E.T.? E.T. E.T.
This is a film made in 1982. Steven Spielberg is just coming off the massive monster success of Raiders of the Lost Ark. And naturally, he decides to pivot and do a kids sci-fi film.
क्या
I mean, only
trajectory है.
Spielberg is going to...
Taking a page from Lucas in this, clearly.
No,
Especially in the
Lucas
design.
went on doing the Star Wars stuff, right? Like,
Yeah.
he didn't stop. Once he got into that zone, he only made those films.
Yeah, we know about
think.
that. Yeah.
I mean, you guys do. I'm
Yeah, I mean, sorry.
blissfully
Me,
unaware.
Ashwin, and Amartya know about it. Chris will know about it next week. Yeah.
E.T. the Extraterrestrial, which began Spielberg's association with slightly hokey titles, is supposedly based on a screenplay by Satyajit Ray. The credited screenplay
are going
writer
to-
is Melissa Matheson.
I will try to kind of sort of correct this misconception थोड़ा. But
The
ठीक है, बोलो आप,
cinematographer is
बोलो.
Alan Davio.
Mm-hmm.
The film is edited by Carol Littleton, which is, I mean, not Michael Kahn, obviously. That's not a pseudonym for him. It's probably Kahn was off doing something else. But from what I know, he is still the senior or supervising editor
Okay.
on Spielberg's films. He's 91 or something like that, which is
He's 91.
he's
Wow.
older than Spielberg.
Spielberg
Yeah.
is like 80, right?
Yeah,
He'll turn 80 in December.
he'll turn it. Yeah.
Music is by the ever-present John Williams. E.T. stars Henry Thomas, Dee Wallace, Robert McNaughton, a very young Drew Barrymore, Pete,
She's the youngest girl, right?
yeah, member of the cast.
Yeah.
Pete Coyote and Pat Welch as E.T., the
Hmm.
extraterrestrial.
Okay.
Amartya,
Oh,
why don't you first introduce us to the debate around Mr. Ray's contributions, his
Yes.
screenplay?
Yeah,
Alien,
and then can we
which
please go to
part?
Chris for this?
No,
because-
so no, so Satyajit Ray had written a story, okay, which is called Bonku Babu's Bondhu, which basically translates to Bonku Babu's friend, in
Mhm.
1962 in the magazine that he created and he edits called Sandesh. So Bonku Babu's Friend is essentially a short story where the titular Bonku Babu, who is like a very meek.
Sorry, Varun is just making these faces, which I can't stop
I'm,
laughing at.
I'm surprised by the number of times Amartya said Banku Babu in like 2 minutes.
Yeah, can't help it ना at this
Yeah.
point. क्या कर सकते हैं? नाम ऐसा है तो मैं क्या करूँ?
बीबी बुला लो.
No, but he is essentially the meek, okay, a meek, a non-assertive, middle class Bengali individual who actually lives in a village area called Mangalpur. Okay. And he is essentially berated by the people who he usually goes out to have quote unquote adda with.
Okay.
So in one of those addas, they were discussing about the moon landing because 62 to 68 that era this story is written.
Yeah.
Okay, they were discussing about the moon landing and how moon landing can happen, and inevitably the discussion then goes to what happens if aliens invariably come to Earth, and Banku Babu mistakenly says that what happens if one of the aliens come here, and
Yeah.
he is soundly berated because obviously because most Bengalis when they drink tea and have biscuits they usually become assholes for some reason, God knows why. Anyway, so
अच्छा अड्डा वो था. I thought अड्डा किसी और चीज का था.
No,
नहीं
Adda
अड्डा
is
वही था.
अच्छा okay.
Adda is
Bengali
that,
colloquial for
For
katta,
chai.
for hangout.
as it is called in the western part
Yeah.
of
Okay,
India.
okay.
Yeah, it's called hangout.
Hangout.
Basically. Now, the next day when he's going to, I think when he's returning from the Adda, he passes through essentially a forest-like area, and suddenly he sees a ship suddenly land, okay, and an alien essentially meeting. By the way, this is a short story. I'm not even going into how it is constructed or whatever. Essentially, the short story, this Bonku Babu meets the alien. The alien basically tells him, look at me, look at how like effective I am, look at how developed I am. I had mistaken my trajectory and I had landed on Earth by mistake. That was the story essentially. Bonku Babu's friend. He then shows the alien then shows Bonku Babu like essentially a magic telescope through which he can see the Arctic, he can see the North Pole and all that shit and all that.
No,
And
it's much more what Chris says whimsy. It has much more
it
whimsy.
is essentially very whimsical. And
Okay.
and he also
Whimsy with the R and the TM both.
Yes, fully.
Registered in trademark.
Yes.
Icon.
Yeah.
Dhruv was confused, ladies and gentlemen.
Now, this story, this Bonku Babu's friend, Satyajit Ray had the idea that he would make a film, essentially a science fiction film after, I think, Goopy Ga in Bhagabain, I think. So it is in 68. His plan was that his treatment, because I have read the treatment, I read the treatment, and his treatment was essentially the alien and its ship would land in the village known as Mangalpur, and the alien and its ship would essentially serve as a sort of megaphone.
Okay.
People would look at the alien ship as a sort of temple and everything, and the story is essentially about what happens when the alien ship itself is looked at as some sort of a magical discovery, and what actually affects the human beings around them, religion, superstition.
Are you telling me
So sort of like Devi.
Yes,
in
it
a
is.
way.
It is exactly Devi. It is exactly that. Okay, that was
Okay.
I
the
was about to
story.
say that. Are you sure that E.T. borrowed this and
No,
not
I'll
Close
tell you what
Encounters
E.T.
then?
borrowed. I'll tell you what E.T. borrowed.
Okay.
Okay, now you will enjoy this, Varun. There is a Marwari businessman character in this movie who
Of course.
Satyajit Ray wanted Peter Sellers to play. I am not
Because that
making
always
this
ends
up.
well.
I am not making this up. And
And Sellers is a great actor. You can't deny.
no, they met with Sellers. It was
Yeah.
fixed. Yeah, it was fully fixed. Like his producer was a guy named Mike Wilson who made his money by making James Bond spoof movies in Sri Lanka, and he made a shit ton of money from it. Okay, so. And now Mike Wilson was like, I will fund you anything. And Ray was like, okay, I need the money. Alien ka
Yeah,
special
because
effects.
till then, government of West Bengal was basically funding all of Ray's work.
Yeah, and he's like, if I'm going to make a science fiction movie, I need special effects. Alien special effects, I need a lot of money. So
Jyoti Basu was like, my son can do it.
yes,
Is this a politician,
It's
Bengali
This
a
is a
political
political.
joke,
Yeah,
and
we are
how
not going
how
there. Yeah.
Jyoti Boshu basically
Okay.
sold Bengal to his son.
No,
Oh,
don't
nice.
go there.
Yes.
Dhruv, just for safety purpose, cut that joke out.
Oh,
huh?
yeah, you're
No,
not allowed to
don't-
do all this.
Yeah.
Jyoti Boshu's dead.
Oh, then
Doesn't
it's
matter.
fine.
Cut that joke out.
No, then it's fine.
Uh,
Yeah.
Then there's also the fact that he wanted Peter Sellers for the role simply because he needed the funding for special effects and all that stuff.
Sure.
And of course, the project got shelved. All that stuff happened. Now the question arises as to why the debate. The debate
Yeah.
essentially centers around the fact that the script was sent to Columbia Pictures.
Hmm.
Now, Columbia had that script for a very long time.
Hmm.
Okay. And essentially what happens is because Columbia has that script,
Hmm.
in like Micro Xerox and everything, the script would float around in different like studios.
Yeah.
And the plagiarism allegation essentially comes from the fact that E.T. ka appearance
Yeah.
very much resembles what Ray had wanted the appearance
Okay.
to be of the alien. You know, the sunken eyes and everything, that big head, you know, that emaciated structure of the face and everything.
Mhm.
That entire thing, it seems to be, I think the idea came from there.
Hmm.
And it is also entirely possible that Spielberg may have, you know, gone through the script.
Sure.
But that allegation that E.T. is completely taken from this is
Yeah.
unfounded. Because
Okay.
story-wise, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
There is no
Also, like,
similarity with
there are no
story.
references to any of the allegations. Like,
अच्छा ऐसी बोलते हैं लोग.
Ray didn't take him to court. Apparently,
Acha,
Ray
okay.
said, I don't want to, which I find very difficult to believe. Ray was a proud creative artist, right? He would want the right to his work. He's not just going to let somebody
Yeah,
go
and I don't
make
think
a
any of
multi-million dollar.
yeah, and I would not think that Ray would be a Spielberg fan.
I
'Cause a
mean,
lot
No,
of-
I
that's
don't.
besides the
I
point,
don't.
but-
No, I
Yeah.
don't think that is the case in the first
Hmm.
place. I genuinely believe that. I think the implication that somebody can plagiarize an idea or a finished script of an alien, even if Ray listens to that, Ray can bristle because of course he's a creator.
Yeah.
Whether it is true or not, whether Ray knew how much of it is true or not is debatable.
Hmm.
I am just saying because I saw through the script and everything, and
Yeah.
I'm like, there is no section of it which makes me believe that ET is copied from here.
But
There is a
Amartya,
kid. There is a
what-
kid, by the way.
हाँ,
in
अच्छा, so
in-
kid है. No,
kid
I was
hai.
about to ask what question you're asking here. Can I ask that question to the makers of Koi Mil Gaya and ET? Like when
Oh no,
that
you
comes
can.
to
Oh
it.
no, you don't have to ask them. You
Acha.
basically had to sue them.
Okay.
You don't have to ask them. You sue them.
Okay.
Rakesh Roshan needs to be slapped with a lawsuit.
Okay. I
Ritik
thought
Roshan needs to
that you were gonna-
hold on.
Okay.
Let me complete. His
Yeah.
son needs to be slapped with a lawsuit for talking with Ryan Gosling on an interview very openly that he had done a science fiction movie, and that too with no ounce of self-awareness. I'm like,
During
bhai,
this Project Hail Mary thing.
Yes,
Project
yes,
Hail Mary
yes.
thing.
Rocky
I'm
and
like-
Jadoo, same thing.
I'm like, भाई थोड़ा भगवान को डरो, थोड़ा भगवान से डरो प्लीज, तो थोड़ा सेल्फ
जादू है
अवेयरनेस
उसके
लाओ
पास,
जिंदगी
क्यों
में।
डरेगा वो?
मेरे पास भी
अच्छा।
ईटी है, उसका मतलब ये
I think
नहीं है कि
also
कुछ
with-
भी हो सकता है।
Ray was towards the end of his, I mean, it's not a mean thing to say. He was towards the end of his natural life and his creative life by the time E.T. got greenlit and eventually made.
1970s में
think-
थोड़ी ना सर, 1990s में
80,
उसकी last picture आई
81
थी
is
ना?
when 81 is when
80
E.T. was made.
हाँ.
82 is when it released, and that was by then Ray's health was in decline. He was not going to be able
Okay.
to make too many movies. He had a heart attack within a year. He'd made Ghare Baire
Do you
just
think
before that.
I'm floating this
by Ghore
conspiracy
Baire,
theory?
I-
Do you think all this is like a result of ET?
No,
What?
no.
What you're saying?
No,
No.
not at all. I think Ghore Baire. I think the entire point. Like Ghore Baire when he made
Conspiracy
Ghore
theorist.
Baire, right? Ghore Baire was,
Yeah.
I think, finished by Shondip Rai, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Like
No, he
section
must
of
have
it is-
released it. I mean,
In-
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he was very much.
He was around, yeah,
health.
Anyway,
was
I
around,
think
yeah.
I think we've established though that there
Yeah.
is a significant difference in the approaches of Ray and Mr.
Like
Spielberg.
Ray wanted a more humanist approach to science
Sure.
fiction. Like science
I
fiction, the
have
science fiction element was the circumstance. Science
Sure,
fiction
sure.
element was the plot, wasn't the plot creator.
Yeah,
That's the whole
yeah.
by
point.
any chance was Mangalpur supposed to be Bangladesh and was the Bandhu supposed to be an Indian Bengali?
I don't think so.
Let's
I had to make the joke, sir. It
I
was
know,
right
but
there.
I'm just saying. I
Chris,
know.
please take over and talk about Koi Mil Gaya, aka
Hey.
E.T. Extra Terrestrial.
I had you spoiled it. I had a whole this thing planned about. Oh, you know, E.T. is a film about this man who this boy who has got intellectual difficulties, who meets an alien and is quote unquote cured. Sorry, that's the plot of Koi Mil Gaya.
Also, since we were dealing with the alien story of Ray, the alien, the titular alien in the Ray story, he
Yeah.
basically sits in the ship and he looks at the villagers and what they're doing with basically some sort of a glee and curiosity.
Okay.
Like
He's basically a Brian De Palma character.
no, he's more like
Not that curiosity.
No, he's more like Midsummer
He also
Night's
has a
Dream.
telescope, sir. Did you not hear what Amartya told?
Yeah, he's more like a Midsummer Night's Dream. That's exactly what he is. He's like a puckish character essentially.
Sure,
He
sure.
moves
He's not
forward.
he's not benevolent Paddington like,
But
essentially.
he's not malevolent either. He just goes on.
He's just there.
He's just there.
Yeah.
He's
Sure.
just changing and shifting, and he's just very
Yeah.
strangely
Sound
looking at everything.
relatable, very relatable.
Yeah.
Anyways, Ashwin, I was saying, Chris.
Jay, after bitching about Close Encounters, I will now wax lyrical about this film, which I thoroughly enjoyed and
Yeah.
cried at least 2 or 3 times solidly.
Wow.
Um,
When
I
all did
think-
you cry? Do you remember?
No, it was definitely in the second half. So when you start getting there's a realization that E.T.'s sick, and then you get
Okay.
the moment the death, and
Yeah.
then the scene related to that. And obviously, when he leaves, I think
The
those are the three
farewell.
big-
Yeah.
the farewell, those are the big moments. But
Yeah.
I think E.T. to me works so wonderfully because again, it's certainly about like sort of childhood innocence, wonderment, that kind of exploring the unknown in a very different way. But it's also about this boy who is in a broken family and who's trying to sort of navigate the trauma and the difficulties of that.
Well,
But
loneliness, right? More than anything else.
the loneliness.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The having to be the middle child of having an old of that dynamic and how he's treated by his siblings and the fact that his mother doesn't have the ability to really be there for him because she's busy with looking after the household, etc. But I think fundamentally what works about it is the whimsy that Spielberg brings to the film and how it's such, to me, the detail that it very much begins with and the kind of perspective that it seats you in is the older characters minus the mother. For the most part of the film, you don't see their faces. You see them sort of shoulder up. And Keys, who is the big scientist character, he's known by this set of keys that's jangling off of his belt, and that's like the signifier. So it places you properly in that child's perspective. You're looking at a world that you are sort of cut off of, you have no access to, and in this world where when you look at this alien, you don't feel fear or skepticism or anxiety, but this genuine sort of joy and wonder and it's just this trust and this friendship that blooms from it, and the kind of connection. Obviously the film translates it into a very literal sort of connection between the two, but that taps into that emotionality.
Dude, can I ask you something? Because this is the second time I watched it, and I was like, the whole parallel editing bit with E.T. like Elliot reacting as E.T. is drinking beer or whatever he drinks. I was like, so wait, what is the thing here? Like, are they like genuinely like telepathically connected like that way?
That is what, like, there's the whole segment in the end.
There's the we are dying thing also which happens.
No, we are dying, and the whole like their brain waves are mapped together, and then E.T. sort of sacrificing him, kind of implied that he's sacrificing himself.
So
to
are you
save.
telling me that essentially Elliot finds a person who is exactly like him and he loves him because he is exactly like him.
Think
No,
of it as an
it's-
imaginary friend in a
It's
way.
more like because
Okay, like
Spielberg
Big
had an
Mom.
imaginary friend.
Connected or something.
Yeah,
Okay,
more
okay.
like Spielberg had an imaginary friend when
Sure, sure.
Yeah,
kind
and
of.
Did you guys have
I-
imaginary
sorry.
friends?
I have a question
No, I
about
had
that.
real friends.
Tell
In that scene, that frog scene,
yeah.
Yes.
E.T.'s watching John Ford's The Quiet Man, I think. Why?
Yes,
Any
the
reason,
quiet
like,
man, because he's
I
because
remember
Wayne is
noting it down. I'm like, why? What is the
because
point?
Wayne is dancing with Maureen O'Hara, right?
Yeah, and then he gets the
yeah.
kissing
So
moment,
is it the
right?
romance thing because there's a kiss or
Yeah.
something happening at school? Okay.
No, I
Guessing-
think Chris is. I think sorry, Chris. I am conflating the alien with Chris. क्या दिमाग का क्या दही हो चुका है at this point? क्या ही कह सकता हूँ at this point? No, but I think the alien is essentially watching it because the alien is basically browsing through television.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And he
I love that
sees-
the first thing introduced to him is Coke.
Yes.
Not Coke, that Coke, Coca-Cola.
Speaking of which, like Coke is like product placement. It's too much, no? Like even in Close
No,
Encounters.
but it's also
like,
such a deeply, I mean,
McDonald's?
product placement, but
It's an
such a
American
deeply
thing. It's a
American
part of
thing.
popular American
Also,
culture.
by the way,
they're a
also
country
by
of
the
in that
iconography of that
Mexican
kind.
desert sequence, like there is
Yeah.
a big neon sign of Coca-Cola, like in the opening scene of Close
Ashwin,
Encounters.
it's the 80s.
No,
but
Ashwin,
it's like
right
too
now,
much. Yeah.
right now, because of the blockade, aluminum shipments to make Coke cans are held up. It is causing an actual meltdown in American media. That is how integral.
What
a
doesn't
part
cause a
of-
meltdown there? In any case,
No, but
Amartya, you were saying.
think of the things that make news, right? The idea that Coke not being canned or bottled or whatever you want to call it is news. Of course, it's a commentary on how stupid our times are, but it's also very telling of the kind of space Coke has in the American
American
I mean, it is.
public life.
Ashwin, you're on Twitter. You've seen every 3 weeks that video of the oldest that bar in
Yes,
the US.
I have seen that also.
Oh yeah, the guy making cola.
Yes.
It goes viral every 3 weeks. You shouldn't be surprised. Come on.
Also, there is
No,
the
not
fact.
just that actually. Like
I will tell you something about American institution, okay? Because next week,
Sir,
we are going to
a
deal
bit,
with. Next week we are going to
tempered.
deal with week we are going to deal with the same franchise which is the American institution. ET में इतना Star Wars का reference है. I
Oh,
was like,
yeah.
Jesus.
I was about to tell that. Yeah.
Did you not
Yeah.
like the Yoda joke though? I was quite.
I loved the
laughed.
Yoda joke.
No?
Loved
Okay.
it. Loved it.
You didn't
Loved
love
it.
the when he goes home when he sees Yoda?
No, like it's like all aliens are the same and they know each other. But
Okay, you're saying like that way. Okay.
Alien
but
racism
that is
is
fine.
what
No, but that is
Ashwin is
fine.
accusing.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why.
Alien
Xenophobe.
race.
All aliens are the same. Yeah. Of course. So, of course.
so like me, yeah, I was coming to that. Sorry,
Okay,
sorry
okay.
to like all of you.
No.
Like,
Please go ahead. I think you and Amartya have a bunch of
it's not
grievances
just
which you can
Coke.
counter
Like there is,
against Chris.
I noted it down. There is Skittles. There is a
Skittles.
Lando
Oh, yeah.
Calrissian action
Lando
figure.
Calrissian action
It's
figure,
action
right?
figure
It's
and
Reese's Pieces. It's
Reese's
not
also
Skittles.
and Skittles also both.
Skittles
Yeah,
is
yeah.
there, that I know.
So there is Skittles because it was not M&M's. I remember. Anyway, and
Ah.
and in the Yoda
And that's
thing,
your bigger
really-
problem, I suppose.
That is
It's
one of the
not-
biggest problem, of course. Are you crazy?
Yeah, and
We are not a product review site as of now, so let's not go there.
M&Ms are great. What are you talking about? M&M
Hey,
is
no, none of this. We don't like anything in terms of food products until they sponsor us.
Unless you
Anyways,
pay us.
yeah, I was about to say.
Old monk.
what I was saying is like like outside of the Spielberg Lucas friendship or whatever,
Yeah.
like this movie is like so heavily influenced by Star Wars, and I don't like that.
Okay.
So like that.
Then
that
again, I
felt
think
like-
it's a commentary. Then again, I think it's a commentary on how much Star Wars itself became such a massive juggernaut because, like, Star Wars, by the way, never was a presence in India. Anybody who tells me that Star Wars was a present in India pre 2015 are lying. ठीक है?
Okay.
Nobody knew. Okay,
I mean,
seriously.
pre DCPs, a lot of cinema used to take a lot of time to come to the country.
Sure.
Yeah.
it's a physical print that needs to be shipped. Then
No, but
that'll play in
what about
Delhi.
like
Then same print will play in Bombay.
what about stuff
Same
like
print will play
Jaws
in
and all
Madras.
that? Were they more
I
saleable
mean, they were
here?
released, but like they'd have been
Okay.
released in Delhi and Bombay, and that would have been it. And
And
maybe Madras and Calcutta.
and
But
original
literally that would be
trilogy
it.
and the original trilogy, like my mamas had seen it. They told me they have seen it, but my thing is that they have seen it as movies. It was never a cultural touchstone
Sure.
for them. Never.
Yeah.
Cultural touchstone कभी भी नहीं था. And in Star Movies and Sony Picks, I remember the prequels coming. Like I distinctly remember seeing a frame of Attack of the Clones. Okay, and even then hating it. So you can understand where it's coming from. But my point being that Star Wars was never such a massive cultural touchstone,
Sure.
contrary to what in America
I
Star
mean,
Wars
America. Yeah.
was.
Yeah,
Like
it's a
it was
religion there.
insane. It was
So,
insane.
Yeah.
How it was insane. And what I understand is that Lando Calrissian an action figure. The fact that Yoda was there, and
okay.
it's like
I never
him
thought
showing-
about the product placement angle only. Am I becoming less cynical,
I'll
or is
no,
Ashwin
but
becoming
like
more cynical?
I have a very objective point on that, which is
Yeah.
E.T. has no stars to speak of. Even the adults in the film are not played by like actors who are well
Yes,
known.
exactly.
It's not like
Yeah.
Harrison Ford in drag is playing the mother or something like that, you know.
Varun, why that
Sir,
example
what Mrs.
specifically?
Doubtfire clone
Yes.
you want this to be?
With Proto Mrs. Doubtfire.
Mitra.
So-
Anyways.
so then I think what happens is and you see this happening with latter day James Bond as well, where Bond the figure is well known, but the
Promotes,
actor is not. So you
Mhm.
try and offset as much of your budget through these deals. And it was the thing is they've done it with some like Indian films, which is like really grating because Indian movies you'll never get a Parle Ji saying, "Hey man," except that one movie, Abracadabra, I think, which had a lot of Parle Ji. But there was a movie in which Jackie Shroff is like his wife is dying, and she gives him the house keys that now you got to look after our 3 kids, and the house keys have a Coca-Cola keychain, but that is the bare basement of that film's Coca-Cola affiliation.
Sure.
It is Coca-Cola on Coke, the powdered kind. So you know, the thing is that at least with a film like E.T., they are able to find a local thing to attach themselves to. What was that?
No. Hey.
Sorry.
Remove the adjective. What was that movie which remove the adjective.
Jaani Dushman.
Jaani
In
Dushman,
the
yes.
movie, Akshay Kumar
We are
is
on
watching.
ET, sir,
Listen,
not Jaani Dushman.
yeah.
Sir, you
Listen,
They're
talk
similar.
about
listen,
Bonvita,
no,
sir.
no,
Go for
listen.
Bonvita.
Bonvita will
listen.
come up.
No,
Yeah,
listen.
Bonvita is such a big thing.
Listen.
No,
me
let
and-
me. It's just a very
मेरा और
brief
अश्विन का जो व्यू पॉइंट है on ET, वरुण bringing जानी दुश्मन is perfectly fine. बोलो.
so in that
That
Akshay
much?
Kumar.
Okay.
Akshay Kumar is sitting and watching TV.
Okay.
In a movie, he is watching TV, and there is an ad on TV for TVs. That ad is hosted by Aman Verma, who also used to go around cleaning people's bathrooms back in the day, selling Harpic or whatever, or Lysol or God knows what.
Harpic.
No, Harpic was that Hussein guy, right?
Then
Who's-
Lysol.
Where are we going,
Lysol, then
guys?
Lysol,
No,
Back
so-
to
so-
ET.
Bonvita.
No, so yeah, or egregious stuff like Bonvita. If you want to think about a coolly done bit of product placement in a Hindi film, for instance, it's Hrithik Roshan's obsession with Coca-Cola in Dhoom 2. He drinks a lot of Coca-Cola in that film, and it shows up like repeatedly, including like when he's doing some gadgetry and magnet hands and stuff. He's trying to be Ian McKellen.
But can we go back to
Yeah, E.T.
E.T., the
Sorry,
extraterrestrial?
no. Our extraterrestrial wants to go to Bonvita, so just say what you want there about Koi Mil Gaya. Go ahead. Our in-house
So
E.T.
I mean, Amartya's already made that conclusion. So
Yeah, I
let's,
conflated him directly. I'm like, Cris was watching
I
the movie.
I watched Koi Mil Gaya for the bit because it was like, why watch ET when you can watch Koi Mil Gaya? So I said, why
you
not
watch
both?
both? Yeah.
I watched both.
Double
And,
feature.
Yeah, and I will happily say that Koi Mil Gaya is better than Close Encounters. But anyways,
They're not the same film. Compare it to E.T.
they're
if you
the
must.
two films combined together, sir. The Om.
Yeah. I mean, there's So, I mean, a funny thing about Koi Mil Gaya is that there's a great bit by the comedian Karunesh Talwar. He's like, I don't understand what this movie is on about. The commentators are like, Kasoli Tigers बच्चों को हरा रहे हैं. And he's like, obviously, ये लोग बच्चे हैं और कसौली टाइगर्स 7-7 फुट के घोड़े हैं. So it's got very random stuff like a bunch of grown ass men beating a bunch of school kids
I will,
at
you
basketball.
know what I will do
Varun, you
in
mean
the
like
edit?
Varun, you mean like E.T. You mean like E.T.
You know what I'll do in
Bunch
the
of
edit?
random stuff happening with
Wow.
kids and E.T. Yeah.
No, sir.
No.
E.T. is very heartfelt.
I'm
The
going
idea
to,
is that
I'm
E.T.
going to
uses
divide the ET part of this episode into how much time you spent on talking about ET and how much time you spent talking
No,
about
I think
Koi Mil Gaya.
the reason E.T. works for me is because it taps into an aspect of childhood that is present in every sort of kid's life. Like, you know, you do have those days where even if you have friends, there are days that those people's parents are being like, you know, dictators. They're like, आज घर के बाहर नहीं जाओगे, you know, and then your parents are cool, so you're out cycling, but you're like, where is everybody? For this kid, it's just a habitual thing.
Where is
And
everybody? So what you think about a spaceship landing?
no, you make up stuff. See, a
Acha,
child's
that way.
imagination is again that kind of thing, right?
That
Like,
I get. I'm just saying your example.
already
I think this
Aryan
is,
and I scared you with our understanding of how school situations should work out in some cases.
yes. So
So
not returning to the drama.
children
Drama.
are tuned into a very different kind of sense of
Yes, of
what
course.
they would like
They
their
have a different
everyday.
frequency, right?
Yeah, as adults, even our fantasy has to have some level of reality in it.
Yeah.
So it's why the film works in context of a child, and a child of a very specific age. If he was a teenager,
how old is he
I'd be
in
like,
the film?
he's
He
supposed to be, I
must
think,
be like
7 or 8.
Yeah.
Maybe younger, slightly. I don't know.
No, I think
Dakota
7 or 8
Johnson's
is 7 or 8 works. 7 or 8
Dakota
works.
Johnson?
Drew
Wow.
Barrymore is supposed to be 3 or something. I mean, she was also a child actor in the same
Dakota
era.
Johnson also worked as a child actor. Yeah.
Child
But also
Anyways.
you get that three children that three different approaches to the thing as well,
Sure.
right? Like, so you've got it's the middle child because he's the loneliest of the lot who discovers E.T. But then you've got the older one who's the most skeptical and makes fun of him. But once he gets into it, he's the one who's actually able to do things about, you know, helping the rescue, etc., etc. And it's the younger child who doesn't have the ability to make sense of it. So she's the one who always is the
She's a
threat
comic
to
relief. I
revealing.
think he's from Mars. I think you already killed him. Or something like that. When she hits him with the fridge by mistake, the mother. But yeah.
Oh, that was funny.
Yeah, that was
That
funny.
was quite funny.
No, but she's the one who's still coming, who's still even not able to process this level of imagination, where she's kind
Of course.
she's the one who's always threatening to, you know, reveal E.T. to the
Yeah.
mother, but that is contrasted with the mother's you know, inability, like you said, the inability for adults to see the alien because she's so preoccupied with these other things. So that proper putting the audience in the, not in just the perspective, but that world of the child, where that the information of the world is divided based on what they can know, and
limiting the point of view of the
Limiting
story,
the point
right?
of view
Which
and
is
how-
not
and just-
there, I think, in Close Encounters. I think
No,
Close
no,
Encounters
because
is much
Close
more
Encounters is very much
360.
adult only. Yeah, it's very
No,
much.
but it's a much more 360. Like it's not limited to one character. Also, it's like
Yeah,
trying to do a
absolutely.
bunch of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
think also like.
okay.
Oh, sorry, Chris, go ahead.
No, and also just a lot of the filmmaking as well. We'll get into it, but I have to say the one moment in the film which I was not expecting that scared the living hell out of me
Scared.
is I literally, like, I was startled, is the astronaut suit.
Oh yeah, that was amazing.
Because
that sequence
there's a
is
video
great.
game called Returnal, which has got a very similar visual in it, which I adore. And I was proper like struck by
I think the first 8 minutes are amazing. The wordless opening, where like we are gradually just building up the suspense of what the.
Can I say something that really, like, I think turned me off from the movie itself? I think is the editing.
Really?
I think it turned me off because, and again, I do not want to sound so harsh, but Steven Spielberg essentially discovered how to make films edited like reels for the modern generation in 1982, because E.T. feels kind of like that. Yeah, E.T. feels kind of like that for me.
You'll have
The
to really
editing,
rewatch it closely now.
yeah,
That's
That's
very.
very harsh, I think, sir. I mean, I didn't think it was like that, but okay.
no, no,
Just
it legit at times felt sloppy for me.
okay.
Legitimately felt sloppy. Now I understand the significance that he is stubbornly limiting the viewpoints towards the kids. He's not shifting to the adults, so it is
Like brief
cutting
glances you get
brief
of the
glances and
yeah,
everything, but
yeah.
it is quite sloppy. I felt it was
Okay.
quite sloppy in a lot of sequences, which ultimately felt like it is cutting away from the flow itself. It is cutting away
Sure.
from any semblance of. I mean, I understand it's a kids movie. थोड़ा whimsy चाहिए. World building the world building itself need not be so developed, but I'm like, it felt very, how do I put this, very vague in a way, which I
It is a
understand, but
little too vague with
it is a
with
little too
how
vague.
by the how ET operates. It's a little too vague.
It's a little too vague. It's a little too vague. I understand the whimsy nature of it all, but it's
Yeah.
still a little too vague.
So you'll enjoy this tidbit, Amartya.
Yeah.
The editor of E.T., Carol Littleton, the film she edited before this was Lawrence Kasdan's Body Heat.
Makes
Interesting.
perfect sense. Now I think about it. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And
makes
Yeah, but
perfect
Ashwin, no, you say you also had a decent amount
the
of
Haters
agreements.
Parade.
Haters, no, but like
It's not
whatever.
hate. It's just
I
that
think
it
the film least liked by anyone in this whole episode is Cris with Close Encounters.
Close
And
Encounters.
that's
Yeah.
just wrong.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
okay. Chris is
This
holding
one-
his hands up in. He's basically doing the gesture they almost do in Close Encounters. Actually, should just
Yeah.
I
point
thought
it
you
up
were
like
going to go to
this.
Bhansali.
No. Ashwin, please go ahead. We are not deviating to Bhansali.
So yeah, I find it a bit too, childish. For me,
Okay.
it's like Close Encounters, chew down and
Spat
made
out.
it
Mm.
not spat out yet. Like it's like chewed up and like prepared for like kids kind of thing, which I understand, I guess.
Like commercialized, essentially.
Commercialized.
नहीं मतलब
It's a bit
kids
too
portion
silly as well.
of a food एक रेस्टोरेंट में
It's
जाके
the
बच्चे के लिए
kids
खाना
bop
देते हो
of
वही हाँ
Close Encounters,
Okay.
basically.
yes हाँ
What?
And
Kids Bop.
It's the censored versions of songs that you hear on the radio in the US. So they
अरे
like remove the
like
curse
if you listen
words.
to Eminem if you listen to Eminem का censored version all the galis are censored to something else kind of
Yeah,
thing.
that's
तो
called
गाना ही नहीं बचा फिर Eminem के गाने में नहीं.
हाँ.
No, but that's not the. I think what Ashwin you're getting at is that the edges also of Close Encounters are missing here. Like that, when I was saying, right,
yeah,
you wonder and
and
terror का जो division है in Close Encounters. I think there is no the terror is like entirely absent in this.
I think, but I
No, but
have
the
a counter
terror
to
is
why
there.
that is.
No,
terror
but
is
the
there a
terror is
little bit.
also there.
Let Ashwin you
Let
go
Ashwin
first
finish,
and
and
then
I'll come
So
in with
look,
why I
my
think that.
problem is like, for example, this ET has like healing powers and like levitation. So those are like very directly appealing to a younger audience. That's what I felt like. But there is still like I have to bring in the parental thing. Like the dad, as you guys mentioned, is in Mexico with his girlfriend. So and at one point the boys like smell the dad's shirt and like older
Yeah.
one is like this is old breeze, old spice, and the other one is
Spice.
like sea breeze. So like the kids are basically replacing the
Yeah.
dad with this alien that
Yeah.
looks like artisanal bread. Like it's just I don't know. It's
I thought for a second Ashwin's about to say with this alien that looks like their dad.
like
I'm like,
in
was
one
there a picture
scene
of the
when they're
dad
like,
on the mantelpiece? I didn't see.
No. I think artisanal bread is good. Yeah.
no, seriously, like when they're like when eating sick, and there are like white powders on the body, it seriously looked like
fully
that. Like,
artisanal bread. Yeah.
yeah,
I quite
and
liked
my
I liked his big eyes and he's very sweet.
fine, I
Credit to
guess.
Satyajit Ray then, but okay.
Okay,
Continue.
fine.
Yeah, and what else? And I feel like it has a bit too many ideas as well. The
Okay.
whole brainwave connection between like ET and kid. In one way, you can say like it's his imaginary friend. The whole thing is like an
I mean,
episode
the
in his
name
mind.
initials also match up like that with Elliot
Yeah,
and
yeah.
ET
So
is yeah.
I was like, it was like there were a couple of ideas that wasn't explored as such. It's
Sure.
limited by what he was aiming for, the commercialized version, as he said.
Yeah.
Then again, I like a lot of things like unlike Close Encounters, what I loved most about this was the adventure part, like
Sure.
the bike scenes was just
Mhm.
really good. Like all
Yeah.
that chase scene was they were
Mhm.
jumping off some, you know, it's amazing, and that iconic shot over the moon and all. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't really like the whole flying idea, but just
Mm.
that image is like I see why it's
The
iconic.
poster image,
I
right?
also
Essentially.
I also would like to point out something regarding the
Mm.
commercial aspect of it all. E.T. released on June 25th, 1982.
Mm.
That's a massive week. I am not somebody who remembers dates. That date
Mm.
was massive.
Mhm.
That is the date when E.T.,
Mm.
The Thing, John Carpenter, and Star Trek 2, The Wrath of Khan.
Wow.
3 of them released that week. And
I'm guess.
they crushed the movie that came out the previous week. That is Ridley Scott's Blade Runner.
Wow. It's
Yeah.
a insane week. Yeah.
So it's an
Yeah,
I mean,
insane
I
Blade
week.
have
Runner
more
is never
reason to
going to
believe
do
this.
So
well
it's an
commercially, but yeah.
insane week, and the fact of the matter is that the fact that E.T. was the most successful out of all 3 of them, because of course it was.
I mean,
Yeah.
in this, I don't even know whether that's a
No, it's because of the kids' film aspect of it, I think, more than
no,
anything
Kids
like
film are
I've said
massive,
this,
right?
I said this somewhere before. Like when you make a kids movie, you automatically sell at least one more ticket
Yeah,
because the
exactly.
parent has to go,
Has to go, yeah, exactly.
and more often than not, there are 2 parents,
I mean,
so 2
yes, but
tickets.
I think it becomes a family outing also, no? When the whole thing
No, I'll give
happens.
you, an absolutely terrible example because this is a
Then
life
don't give
experience.
it. Okay.
My sister wanted to watch Twilight Eclipse. Okay,
First
there
question,
was
why?
my sister's got questionable taste. She liked Takes for Bees Bahadur. What do you expect? So this was in Madras in 2010.
Yeah.
My father's like, you're not going alone. I'm like, she can't go alone, but I can stay in the house alone. So leave me in the house and go. We had a Labrador. I was like, we'll chill. And they're like, no, you'll play on the computer. Somehow they thought me playing Cricket 07 on the computer was worse than watching Twilight. So instead of just 1 ticket that should have, gone to the producer's pocket, 4 tickets money has gone because the entire family has gone.
And
How
Twilight
was
Eclipse
it?
wasn't even a kids' movie.
It's terrible.
How was it? Why do you ask?
No, because I don't think it's that bad. I've seen it.
Hey,
God
this
awful.
कोई इसको मारो कभी झापड़
I
मारो
don't hate.
इसको.
I've seen 3 Twilight movies. I don't mind 2. The first one and the third one is fine, I think.
The first one is awful. What are you talking about? Your problem with voiceover, that movie has the biggest egregious
See,
problem.
I don't
Cris-
remember all this now, so yeah.
He didn't have taste then.
Yeah, I guess so.
सर
So I think
इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि टेस्ट बड्स ही नहीं था रिगार्डिंग मूवीज या तो टेस्ट बड उतर गया है यहाँ से.
so.
Anyway.
My
Anyways,
counter to the idea that in ET the terror is gone is because terror is taught to children.
yeah,
Fear is not. I mean, fear is part of the sort of emotions
yeah,
you will feel and stuff, but your response to it is conditioned a lot by sort of what you learn from those around you.
of course.
So
Yeah,
because he's not seen an adult respond to ET,
yeah,
Elliot responds to him in the only way he has been taught as a kid
yeah.
to respond to someone of a similar size,
Hmm.
with friendship.
No, it's totally fine.
And
Again,
that to and no, in the sense that I think something like, again, I keep going back to the film. The Goonies has the rougher edges, I suppose, more.
I would
in
say
a way.
even Paddington has the rougher edges than this.
Yeah, sure, but
Hmm.
I also get the appeal of making a film in which none of that is there, in which
That's
the only
fine. I
threat comes from
understand
the
that.
government,
My
which
only
wants
note
to
for this movie
confiscate the
is
alien.
no. My only note for this movie is that it's very sweet. वो थोड़ी ज़्यादा it's too sweet for some people, which is very understandable. And but again, my comparison point, because you guys said that Dhruv does not like Dhruv only likes depressing
Mayus
Mayus
movies,
movies.
yes.
I was like, no, if E.T. released in the cinemas and I went to watch it in the cinemas, I wouldn't have a vomit-inducing reaction to it like I had with Project Hail Mary. You know,
So
that's the
something you had to insult right now. Got it.
I will, because that is they literally take the whole conceit, right, about the rock and that
Yeah, of
guy is
course.
the same thing.
Yeah, understood.
But
No,
Dhruv, that's
completely get it.
kind of expected that your reference points are all now going to be films we know about.
yeah,
Like when Spielberg was making
Paddington came out
80s.
2 years
But
back. Yeah.
Paddington is set on Earth. It is set in a world where having a talking bear is perfectly acceptable.
Yeah.
And that talking bear was so convincing, apparently, that Hugh Grant's father asked him after watching the movie, very good, very good. Is that a real bear? So the thing is that each movie's got its own sort of selling point in terms of what it's able to sell convincingly.
Yeah,
right?
I would say that this is a film which has its heart in the right place, and which I think mostly does the comedy in a way which didn't feel like ingratiating or like really annoying to me, at least. Is my
I mean,
reference
most
point in
children
that way.
comedies are like can be bad in terms of like when you watch them when you grow
Like
up.
this to me was innocent, not infantile, if that makes a difference.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, fair enough.
That's
yeah.
the big sort of difference for me.
I mean, I also still enjoyed Dunstan Checks In when I rewatched it recently. I just had no problems with an orangutan shaking his backside at somebody and it being passed off for humor.
What is this?
It's this low budget kind of, not low budget. It's got Faye Dunaway and Jason Alexander.
It's
Yeah,
not
but
low budget. If anything, it is
it's-
quite high budget.
It's a very popular DVD film in India in the late 90s, early 2000s.
It's that Baby's Day Out.
Baby's Day Out, Dunstan.
Baby's Day Out,
okay.
right?
That's
वो
a
वाला
different
generation
register,
of
though. I
cinema.
think that's more. That's
Yeah,
almost
it's much broader.
Yeah.
Facile
No,
in
this
a way.
this wants to also be teary and like very like dramatic in that sense.
I think also why the saccharine nature of it works is because the children obviously miss their father.
Yeah.
And it is a very, you pour that much more into every human interaction you're going to have, or every interaction you're going to have. Especially if you know the parent is not likely to come back anytime soon, or has permanently drifted out of your orbit.
Yeah.
So for them, every interaction becomes that much more valuable.
Sure.
I think,
Understood.
and I just completely, I might change my mind on the movie, at least partially, if I rewatch it. Because I just tend to watch more new stuff or more different stuff than go back to old films that I've already watched and enjoyed or watched or disliked. So, but I still stand by the fact that it's not only is it well made, it is convinced of what it is. I think when a film is disingenuous is when it's most annoying. And the best films of this kind
Has
are
Spielberg ever
genuine in
made a
what-
disingenuous film?
I think Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is
Kingdom of
definitely
the
very
Crystal
disingenuous.
Skull is
It's
very
absolutely-
disingenuous. Yeah.
It's not defendable at all.
I will call Ready Player One very disingenuous.
I think that's the one people target the most because it's very commercial in a way, which is like, which
I
people
think even the
almost say
Lost
that
World
it's like
is
Free Guy.
Lost World also
Even
seems very much
Lost
so.
World
Yeah.
also is like, I just want to add my footprint to the franchise a
Did he
little
even
more
want
before
to do
somebody
it?
takes it. I mean, no, but he was coming off Amistad and
I can't
it had
believe that
done
franchise
well.
has made so many movies out. Like it's churned out so many. Like
I mean, simple
that's the thing, right?
franchisee. People want to watch dinosaurs eat people.
True. I mean, Rennie Harlin is still making movies, so in that kind of economy, Jurassic movies are perfectly fine.
no, they are not perfectly fine, sir. Because you've not
in
seen
the,
them.
in that they're serviceable content to an audience. The thing is, you looked at Ashwin's reaction yesterday, right? When I said, "Oh, the Sheep Detectives is bland," he's like, "Were you expecting something more?" The average audience, otherwise going in for a Jurassic World type movie, is not because they're also not a first generation or a second generation viewer of Jurassic
So they just
Park.
want monsters eating people without the
Yes.
blood.
Yes.
And it's staple fare, right? It's not offering
Yeah,
you
but
anything
people-
new.
you can make-
के लिए
you can
और
do
Indians के लिए तो और Indians
Indians
के
की
लिए
भी
तो
बात
E.T.
नहीं है sir. These movies make lots of money.
I'm not I'm not
in
talking
America.
about that. I'm talking about this very simple fact कि Indians के लिए तो E.T. won't matter much also. कोई मिल गया तो already है.
Exactly.
No.
No, I don't even
Jadoo.
think it's that. It's that Koi Mil Gaya is in the Indian cultural register of that
I
mother
have a
who is really
special dislike
annoying.
for that film. But anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I find Rekha annoying in that movie. I find its treatment of Rohit Mehra unforgivable.
Oh yeah, his performance, like
That is infantile.
Hrithik Roshan in general has always been a bit of an over performer, I think, in terms of overacting.
Oh, when
Like,
he
I think
when he
yeah.
cries, no, every
Yeah.
part of his face cries.
Oh.
Like every
Sir,
single
मैं
pore.
प्रेम की दीवानी who exists. Nothing else needs
Wow,
to
what a
be
beautiful
said.
garden, auntie.
Hi, Auntie.
And
Okay.
Pankaj Kapoor wearing a cap which says dad. Like
That's
he's got an
not,
identity crisis.
Okay,
that is
not
not
to
in
not to
मैं प्रेम की
deviate
दीवानी। अच्छा,
from मैं प्रेम की दीवानी हूँ of all things.
No, it's that only. It's that only.
Can we move on to a film which is much sadder? So, My Zone.
Yeah.
No, nothing more to say about ET, right? Nothing more to say about
Unless the fans want to speak up more.
No, I said my bit plenty.
Okay. Varun said, Cris said, Amartya, you and Ashwin have dumped on it. Perfect.
Lovely. So we are moving on to AI, artificial intelligence.
By now, indeed, the windows were beginning to dim. David drew the shades without even needing to be asked.
I really ought to be tucking you in. Strange.
It's an interesting title for a film that could have actually had like lots of titles, presumably, but again,
don't you think it's
Spielberg
like
went
synonymous or rhyming with ET, the Extra Terrestrial also?
Yeah, but
quite possibly, yeah.
why?
Because
Why do you need that?
it's the same story, but like with all the edges there, I feel.
It's not the same story anyway.
Similar story, yeah. It's about
What similar story?
it's about a
No,
kid
Anyway,
kid looking for love
Pinocchio.
from
Robo
It is
looking
very-
for love.
It
Yeah,
is
this is
very
the
much
thing.
Pinocchio. It is
It's
very much.
Pinocchio with sort of I don't know,
Sure.
something like
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Anyway,
Okay, it's
so
not.
AI,
I'm wrong. Go ahead. Yeah.
AI artificial intelligence is based on a short story Super Toys Last All Summer by
Which I have
Brian
read.
Aldiss.
Just to
Oh my
say,
God! Oh my God! Somebody
You
clap!
can read.
Shocking.
You
Yeah, I
can
can
read.
read.
You are-
Screenplay by Steven Spielberg, who's also the director. Surprise, surprise. Screen story by Ian Watson. Developed by the late Stanley Kubrick, to whom it's dedicated. The film is shot by Janusz Kaminski, who at this point, this is 2001, he'd been Spielberg's regular cinematographer for about 8 years by then. Edited by Michael Kahn, music by John Williams, starring Jude Law, Brendan Gleeson, Francis O'Connor, William Hurt, and the terrific Haley Joel Osment.
Yeah.
This and The Sixth Sense, I don't think that guy needs to act ever again in his life.
Yeah. It's probably better. I mean, he is supposed to be a bit of a nut.
It's probably better
outside
he
of
doesn't act
Yeah.
because he hasn't acted good in any other stuff other
I
than
mean, a lot of child actors sort of
Peaked early.
Yeah. I mean, the AI performance is, I think, insane. But
Yeah, and it's actually a performance, quite
Yeah.
unlike, I don't know, film which I know a lot of people love, and I also enjoy, but let's face it, Kevin from Home Alone is not a taxing performance per se.
Macaulay
Okay.
Culkin, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah. Anyways, so Amartya and me have already spoken about AI, artificial intelligence, a fair bit. So I think it's best that Cris, Varun, and Ashwin chime in most. Just brief 1-2 words, Amartya, and we can say I think over time it will be my favorite Spielberg film.
I think my thing in that entire discussion was I was very interested in where Kubrick ends and Spielberg begins.
Yeah.
And it is very surprising to me that the Spielberg touches are the ones that are more overtly harrowing, like the
Yeah.
fairground sequence and all that part. Those are the
The
Spielberg touches.
Gigolo and all.
Yeah, those are the Spielberg touches, which was very surprising to me. And the Kubrick touches are the ones that are more like emotionally open or more vulnerable to a certain degree. But
Yeah.
it's one of those rare mixes, or it's one of those rare projects which are left like mid development, then given to another voice, which more often than not has high possibility of failing. In this scenario, it doesn't. On the
I mean,
contrary,
it did fail at the time when it released. I think it was much cold. The reception was very cold. I think Spielberg was specially lambasted for softening
Kubrick's edges.
Kubrick's approach, etc., etc. So
I mean, that
it's
was a presumption about
the
that.
That was a
Spielberg is-
presumption,
reputation.
yeah.
The reputation has become much like renewed, as in like it's properly considered one of his
This
best
is more of
works.
a reappraisal than anything
Reappraisal.
else.
Yeah.
I have a question to start with. Why do you guys think it is? Because I watched the film. I'm, of course, famously the heartless member of the Queen is Dead team. But I wasn't really moved by it in the way I really liked the film. I got like everything it was trying to do. I found some of it touching. I thought the relationship between Haley Joel Osment and Jude Law was something I wish the film had more of, because it is such an unusual equation.
Yeah.
But I somehow I feel the emotionality of it bypassed me. So I would like some light.
I can chime in on this very much because I think this is one of the saddest films ever made, and the bleakest ones. So I think it's to do with this idea of humans making AI essentially to replace their or be a substitute for their son, and who's programmed to love the parents and nothing else. So he does his job. He does what he is programmed to do. In return, he doesn't get anything because the parents think that they are, I think, in a sense, programmed to love only the real thing if it is available, which is their own child. When he comes back, they only love him. So to me, the devastating idea of the film is that we program ourselves or are programmed in a way where we have definitively described or defined who we love, and everyone else who loves us in this sort of sphere falls by the wayside, which I think happens in the end also. Like, to me, the end is not about reunion, it's about two people. He essentially reprograms the person he loves for a day to
For a
love
day,
her.
right? He imagines it. He imagines a perfect day. That's
And
all
that's
the
and
amount
he
it
imagines
have.
that day in which she only loves him and
yeah.
nothing else. So to me, it's all about this sort of dynamic where
Exclusivity of affection.
Affection, yeah.
the affection itself to me is like
Affection
it
is a commodity. Affection is the only commodity for him, essentially.
Yes,
That's
and I think I've always kept this, and I used it in the previous episode we had also. Like, the one thing that Jude Law says to this guy, our protagonist. And he's basically like, she loves you. She loves what you do for her as my customers love what it is I do for them. But she does not love you, David. She cannot love you. You are neither flesh nor blood. You are not a dog, a cat, or a canary. You are designed and built specific like the rest of us, and you are alone now only because they tired of you, or replaced you with a younger model, or were displeased with something you said or broke. They made us too smart, too quick, and too many. We are suffering for the mistakes that they made, because when the end comes, all that will be left is us. If all that is left is them, to me, David becomes human the moment he becomes selective about his love. I think he leaves Jude Law and he leaves the Teddy, both in the end to themselves, the two people who probably love
I
him.
think it's also tragic in a way that when the movie ends with I think they are the AI, right? The last section, those people. When they ask who were our predecessors, how our predecessors are, David is the only one who can provide who is the history book in a way. David is the only one, and David can be selective about the history.
Because his
history
is long.
No, but the idea is that I think, of course, the film is using science fiction as a tool to talk about how also how humans also have a programmatic ways of loving people, and how all that dynamic sort of shapes up. And to me, because
it's
the film was
prioritization. It's the prioritization which human beings are very much
and
either adept at doing or being taught to do to be.
And I would be shocked if for people who are sort of adopted into families, or people who are not sort of connected by blood or flesh, I think this particular idea is horrifying. Like, in that sense. I mean, I don't personally relate to it on that level, but like, I'm sure that thought of you being a sort of replacement of sorts and then being there to find a replacement for loving. So, all that dynamic, I think, is playing down. And I think one of the,
Could it also be
again,
that they replaced their human son pretty quickly with this
they
kid?
did, but I think,
They did.
that's the whole thing. I feel like, I think
It's also
the
like
humor-
when technology provides you with an option,
Yeah.
the desperation drives them to make that decision,
Yeah.
which is also
the human
something.
desperation to love is
Love,
not
yes.
to receive love is not equal to the human
And human
ability
desperation to give love
to,
back.
to give it,
Yeah.
which I think is a very Kubrick thing, actually.
Yes.
In the
Right.
sense and how his view of humanity is. But I think the sentimentality that
For
goes with it.
context, for context, look at Barry Lyndon.
Yeah. He's admitted it. He's very openly said how his films are sardonic in a way about humanity in general, right? So, but the sentimentality here with that darkness around it, I think, is what makes the ending especially devastating for me. Because a lot of people have complained about it being like overly sentimental. I'm like, but there is so much other stuff going on. It's not a reunion. It's not a reunion of mother and son. It's a reunion of an image of the mother.
No, I think the term reunion itself is wrong. It's
Yeah.
essentially like a second-hand failed replication of a
Replication.
dream. It's a
Yeah.
replication of a dream.
simulation
It's a
Simulation,
simulation,
yeah.
essentially.
It's-
Yeah.
It's when that phone that has died magically sort of sparks back to life for that 1 hour, and you're euphoric that
Yes.
it works.
Yeah,
Yes.
and in this case, that makes you also mortal, and the fact that once you
Yeah.
spend that, you die, so you become human that way. And then I love the fact that Teddy is in the frame and he just slouches over onto the bed
Right.
next to them because he has found someone. So he has become human, I think, in
Right.
in AI. But becoming human is a tragedy in this film, which I think is painful, I suppose, and
Right.
fairly heartbreaking.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
I genuinely not seen it that way, in the sense that I suppose I was already coming at it from a perspective of, so what? Like, we are all screwed in the long run anyway.
Yeah.
Which I know is a sentiment shared by a lot of people on this podcast.
Yeah, but I think
But-
but because it's centered around someone who is programmed to love like that.
Yeah,
right? Like,
yeah,
it's like
probably-
his
probably
love
that is the-
too
that is-
pure in a way, which is understandable. But then you also realize that love is so selfish that it refuses to look to other people who are willing to provide more companionship, love,
Yeah.
help, etc. So obsession.
Like, yeah, it's
and all
not
that.
capable of that.
Yeah.
It's in a way not able at all
Yeah.
of thought
Yeah.
in that sense.
Yeah.
I know, Dhruv, you criticize this phrasing. I really enjoyed the film.
Yeah.
Purely
No,
because
I mean, you
thought-
can enjoy it. That's no problem. But yeah,
I thought it was one of those majestically made Spielberg films where he truly captivates you with how he's doing it all.
Yeah.
So much of it is absolutely shot in like dark interiors or exteriors for that matter.
Yeah.
And
a lot of glass in the first act, I think.
Yeah.
Right? It's
Yeah, I mean,
about
which you'll see in
reflections
Minority.
and, but reflections
in
in
Minority
this,
as well,
the fragmented image of David, the fragmented image of Monica is her name, right? The mother.
Yeah, the mother.
Yeah, so both of
I
them.
mean, even the idea of everything happening at night time essentially is
got
like
that-
you have
it's
to be
very
in the dark. It's
blue.
shadowy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's blue as
Yeah.
opposed to black.
Yeah.
It chooses the slightly more visually
Yeah.
perceivable darkened image.
Yeah.
And I mean, great performances. I like the way Brendan Gleeson is spun off as the Western's idea of a hero,
Yeah.
but is actually a villain in
Yeah.
that subplot.
Yeah.
I thought William Hurt was really good as well as the scientist that
Yeah.
creates
That's
David
the horror museum essentially of replicas,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
and as a man who's helpless by
Yeah.
his own, as a consequence of what he decided to do for a vocation,
Yeah.
he's rendered helpless. As
And I
opposed
think
to
Monica
having-
says that like again, there are lines I've noted down because I know how much when they happened, I was just like, you don't say all this to your children very easily. Like, I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
didn't tell you about the world. And she leaves him in
Yeah.
the forest. I was just like, that's devastating to say to a child, like, or to the
Right.
child who's programmed to love you. And he's like, don't worry, if I'll try, I'll be real for you. I'm like, that's really moving for me, in a sense where,
Mhm.
like, the amount of effort someone is willing to put to love someone, uh,
Hmm.
in return for acceptance, not even like equal love, I think
Yeah.
is fairly devastating. So yeah, like, a lot of that is there for me.
Though I do have a problem, not as much as I did in Minority Report.
Hmm.
I do have a bit of a problem with Janush's backlight, which
Oh
has
yeah,
always sort of
there's a lot of it.
Oh
Yeah.
it
yeah,
has
that is like
always been his trademark as a cinematographer.
Yeah.
But I think in
yeah.
this
Oh,
he sort of
it's
relaxes
very,
it much
yeah.
much later in his career
Yeah.
when he's confident. I mean, he's confident otherwise as
I
well.
mean, you can argue that it works in this simply on the basis of the world at which point, and it's
Word.
also when it shifts to
Yeah.
like icy terrain, especially. I think it works.
Oh yeah.
I think it
Uh,
Yeah.
also works. I think it also works because a movie that shows the world as so technologically dependent,
yeah.
the
Hmm.
backlight being so exposed kind of reminds you of a form of sterility even within the
Yeah.
warmth. Like
Hmm.
it highlights the artifice itself
Yeah.
in a way.
Yeah. I
That's
mean,
what
we've
I feel.
spoken more than we thought we would. You guys
Yeah.
can go ahead. Sorry, you
Yeah, you
asked the
guys can
question,
go ahead.
so waxed
Yeah.
lyrical as
Yeah.
it was expected. Yeah.
Ashwin, Chris, thoughts?
Yeah, I'll start. So the last time I watched this, like I was a bit confused between the Kubrick's part and the Spielberg part, like the
Yeah.
coldness and the sentimentality, like was
Mhm.
Right.
yeah, but this time I think it worked a bit more.
Mhm.
But I have some issues with it.
Sure.
But towards the end of the movie, like
The way Dhruv said sure, I was like, huh, Rampuri is about to come out of like
No, I have issues with the film also. I like it more, not because of them, but I like the bit so much
despite
that
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, my issues are basically like all the conflicts are like generated out of like far-fetched things and like,
Okay.
character, like the husband bringing the kid without, telling the wife.
Yeah.
Like
Hmm.
that's just, yeah, it's just plot convenience to make that
Sure.
conflict between the,
Mhm.
you know,
I
kid
read it.
and
I read it more like you can compare it with my father basically bringing our dog for the first time without informing my mom.
yeah, like it
It's
reminded
kind
me
of
of
like
that
the same thing.
time I loved, like, Robert Pattinson brings a
Oh,
dog.
time I love.
Yeah,
Sir,
and she goes
Wuthering
nuts.
Heights. Sir, think of our Fenergy. The father brings the child
We
home.
we do not want to. Please don't.
Wuthering Heights
Wuthering
and
Heights,
AI
of course.
discussion is not allowed. Sorry.
Wuthering Heights, the book.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, a lot of those things, like those communication gaps and all, like
Yeah.
the conflicts are generated through like these people behaving like idiots. So
Yeah.
that kind of bothered me. The second thing that bothered me was like the world building was not up to the mark. It felt a bit limited, the carnival things and the neon
They are
cities and all.
bits, I think, as opposed to
Yeah,
like
like I mean,
really world
like
built. Yeah.
we're used to like Blade Runner and all. So
Yeah.
this is like a bit, it's
I mean, the carnival
Spielberg.
reminded me of Gladiator, if anything.
Mm.
Like that viciousness that I wish Gladiator had in the Colosseum sequence, and it
Yeah.
lacks because it's like going round and round Russell Crowe and then cutting to what's his face, Joaquin Phoenix
Yeah.
and Connie Nielsen occasionally, I guess. But yeah,
So,
this had that animalistic sort of.
and I felt like the world was a bit limited because like even in this dystopian setting, they're just walking through like woods. Like,
Yeah.
the whole Odyssey part of it, like
Yeah.
the Visitaphos part of it is like they're just walking at night through the woods kind of thing. So like from the filmmaking point of view, like the world building thing for Spielberg, it's kind of disappointing to me. Um, but towards the end, the emotional core of it, like Dhruv was talking about the love thing, that's what like resonated with me when they cut to like 2000 years later. I'm like, yeah, okay. That's when I like leaned towards the screen and everything like started coming together. I mean, like the one thing that sets him apart from the rest of the robots are like he's programmed to love.
Yeah.
And when you look at that gladiator scene, like all other robots, they're like indifferent to the whatever is happening to them,
Yeah.
the death.
Mm-hmm.
Because like so which I read as like it is this capability of loving
Mm-hmm.
that brings out all other emotions like fear, jealousy, and everything in
Yeah.
us, and that's what makes us human. Like, and
Do
when these
androids
aliens
do
do,
androids dream of electric sheep?
Yeah. It's
yeah.
very that.
Essentially.
It is
and
that.
and
Yeah.
even the title of this short story is very similar to
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
By the way, the short story for whatever it's worth, it ends like when this. It ends almost at the point where the forest scene happens, and
Right.
then everything is later on. Like
Okay.
it's one of those very cold sort of things where it's like he's replaced. That's it,
Yep.
and it ends like that. So like yeah.
Yeah. So the thing is, this kid is programmed to love, and he's also programmed not to like misbehave. He has to be
Hmm.
like an obedient child.
The
So,
first
but
sections of him trying to do all that are very creepy, at least to me,
yeah,
Oh
like in a
yeah,
sort of
he plays it so well as well.
uncanny, very
yeah, I don't
horror
sleep,
adjacent.
but I can just lay down peacefully without
Yeah,
something
If
physical.
that's what will
Yeah,
please you,
yeah,
kind of, yeah.
yeah.
yeah. And but the thing is like, but his primary goal is to love this person, and like, and that supersedes everything, which we can see in that scene where he cuts the hair.
Yeah.
Like he's not supposed to do that,
Mm,
but ultimately his the main objective is to like this loving relationship. So he's going to ignore the well-behaving thing there.
yeah.
So like this, you can see like even towards the end, like this is this singular goal, and like
Mm,
when he finally reaches that museum place,
mm,
he's like angry. He actually becomes violent, and he starts hitting the other Davids,
yeah.
and he says
So
like,
I thought
I
read that
am David. I am unique. I'm special.
Saito
So
read that
Yes.
as Pinocchio meeting Geppetto,
Mm,
basically. Pinocchio had to get to meet
correct. Yeah,
Geppetto, yeah.
mm,
absolutely. So I mean that moment just really hit me. Like, I am unique. He thinks he's unique because he
yeah.
thinks his love is unique. Like it reminded me of the iconic.
Kendall from Succession. I'm the first boy.
Wow.
Essentially, I am the
I am
I
the
am the
eldest boy.
eldest boy. I
Yeah.
am the eldest boy.
And
Yes.
yeah, and Roman is like, no, you're not.
You are not.
Yeah. Anyway, so like it reminded me of the quote from Portrait of a Lady of on Fire,
Mm,
like where they say like, do all lovers feel like they're inventing something?
mhm,
So like this, what he feels is like this loving thing that feeling that he's having is something so unique, like that
mm,
no one else is capable of doing, and it is the love that defines him. In
mm,
a way, when the aliens find him and like tries to understand what human beings are like,
mm,
eventually that's this part, the this capability of love is what
mm,
is their conclusion as this defining factor of human beings. That this is the part that this is what resonated with me
mm.
from the film by towards the end. But I didn't find it really sentimental or anything. I
Okay.
expected it to be like a VP based on like how I remembered last time, but
Mhm,
this time it felt like a very peaceful kind of an ending, but
mhm.
not too sentimental. If
I
it
don't
was
think it
sentimental,
is.
I
I
would
mean,
hate
the
it.
score is wonderful. I love the John Williams score in that scene particularly, but yeah.
So it's good, but I have some reservations.
I think that's totally fair. I mean, which is, I think, similar for Chris, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think to me, distinctly, the problem with the film is it feels like two films cut together.
Okay.
To me, the family sections are a different film,
Yeah.
and the spectacle of it,
The middle
the Pleasure
section.
Island and
Yeah.
the carnival and everything are
Mm-hmm.
a different film altogether. And to
Yeah,
me,
this
they
problem
don't
even I
really
had.
Yeah. That
they
that
don't
is a
really
problem, I think. Yeah.
so the problem becomes that even though like I feel this is a film you can like write about endlessly. Also,
Hmm.
if anyone's interested, there's a huge amount of writing on Pinocchio. There's a
Hmm.
wonderful paper by Jennifer Stone or something called
Hmm.
Pinocchio and Pinocchiology. A lot of psychoanalysis done there, and a lot of relation to AI as well. But to
Hmm.
me, the thing that's most important about it is the religious allegory, right?
Hmm.
To
Hmm.
me, David's story is being damned. It's being abandoned by God. It's by the
Hmm.
creator.
Yeah.
It's about like that's why to me my favorite moment in the film is
Hmm.
when David looks up at at the angel on top of a church, and
Yeah.
goes, "Is that the blue fairy?" I
Yes.
think that is to me the scene in the film, and it's about how, because it's not that David has to be an obedient child. Monica doesn't love David when he's basically a robot and listening to her exactly what she says. The moment she falls in love with her is when he puts on that perfume. It's when he disobeys, when he makes a mistake. That is when he becomes an object of love, right? So he's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't, because the mistakes that he makes him more human to her, but it's also the very
The
thing
very
that
thing that
allows
pushes
her
her of
to abandon him, right? And it's that it's to me that's it's almost like a Kantian polemical, as in to say that it treats
Excuse me?
people it I'm explaining. Kant has this idea of using people as means to end to an end, and
Yeah.
something that he sort of writes against as, the true morality is not treating people as a kingdom of ends.
Yeah.
And the film is about it is about like instrumentalization, how we treat others or things as objects that we get a use
Yeah.
out of in the moment. And to me, the speed with which Monica abandons David to her child is also a sign of that. It's about her selfishness of, she just needs something to fill in that gap.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it was her
yeah.
child. It's not just that she's programmed to love her kind and not the other, but that
Of course.
she had an object that filled this need.
I mean,
And it was
I've said this again. Like, it's the vertigo thing is there here too.
Yeah, it's absolutely
Yeah.
right. It's that it's the almost that the object is immaterial.
Yeah.
Right. It's that there is this
Or you're
desire.
chasing a phantom, essentially,
Yeah,
right?
it's
Yeah.
the object is phantasmatic fundamentally. That it is
What? Phantasmatic.
phantasmatic.
Sorry, I am just clarifying.
yes.
Sorry, I studied a bit of psychoanalysis recently, so that's like stuck in my head. My
For
apologies.
for more on this, Cris will be doing an episode with Shilekha. So please watch that or
Hopefully
listen
sometime.
to that whenever that happens.
But so the point is that the object itself is immaterial. It's what can fulfill that need at that time, and her actual human son fulfills it better than David could. Therefore, he is literally replaced by a better model per se, and that's
Yeah.
what
The real model, if
The
you want to say
original
that.
model,
The real
essentially.
model.
the
yeah.
original
Also-
or the you don't
the
again the
original
point is
model.
not even
The real
it's the
thing.
better.
Yeah.
It's
No,
better.
but I
It
think
doesn't.
it's better. Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like it's the kind of abandonment that a child will feel if they have, or that they have, for example, a younger sibling. That
Yeah.
they feel like that love has gotten transferred to that. So now it's not about the real. It's about that feeling of this is the better object. This is the
Or this is the
newer,
new
shiny-
again.
No,
New
yeah,
again.
new again.
essentially.
That kind of an object, right? So the emotional or the intellectual part of it is incredibly dense. But for me, the problem happens that the spectacle of it punctures the film, the emotionality of it constantly. So the moment like the emotional builds up, like that scene of Haley Joel Osment at the bottom of the pool looking
Oh,
up
gorgeous,
when that,
gorgeous stuff.
when
Gorgeous
that
stuff.
that moment sort of no pun intended, but that sinks in that like I've really messed up this time. That is wonderful, but then and you have the huge scene, the forest scene, but then when it goes into the kind of routine of going to one place,
I mean,
and this
it's the
and that.
quest. It becomes a quest. His
but
quest, right?
the quest kind of abandons, even though like Jude Law does a really good job.
I think
it abandons to
I
me
think
the
it's still.
emotionality.
I think it's
I think
cycling
it's engaging
through
with
it.
the same thing
Yeah,
eventually.
I think it's cycling through it.
And there is
I
no
agree with
other.
those people.
I think it's
There's
the
no fix
auteur.
to that.
I think it's the auteur. I think it's the auteur perspective on one specific idea, like how Kubrick engages with that idea and how Spielberg engages with that idea. Which is why, like you said, Cris, it is a film that is very much suited for writing essays on.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's the proper essay film. Like you
No,
can,
again,
yeah.
I think whether it resonates with you personally is a deeply personal
Yeah.
thing. Like, I don't feel this. Like, again, I've said I'm much more sympathetic to father-daughter narratives because that's what resonates with me more. This kind of what do you call alienation, or like even something like what like Elliot goes through in E.T. is something that I resonate with more.
Sure.
Whereas the particular kind of a desire or despondence or despair that David goes through is not something that resonates with me. and thus I'm distanced from it to a certain sense, and then then I tend to have more problems. So I think whether it resonates with you is a deeply personal thing, but that is not to say, I mean, from both from a filmmaking perspective, which I think is absolutely wonderful, but from a kind of, this is a film to write essays about, there is every single scene you could go on endlessly about, and I admire that. Like that is why I do really like this film, because I admire it intellectually quite a bit. But that gap always remains to me, where because the emotionality is punctured so rapid, like so constantly for me, I'm not able, like, this is the kind of film that I would bawl my eyes out, like, no questions asked.
I predicted this, and my prediction was wrong, so I was
Yeah,
disappointed.
and I just, again, because the ending sequence should hit, but it just doesn't hit, because it comes from after all this spectacle of the aliens and their discussion, and all of that to me takes away from the actual punch of the moment. So that you
Sure.
don't have it, or you mediate in some other ways, but otherwise it is to me two distinct films, and that
Hypothetical,
makes
Chris.
that distance. Yeah.
Hypothetical, Chris. What if the short film and the movie faithfully adapted the short film, where the story ends just before the forest sequence?
Yeah.
Would the movie have hit harder otherwise?
I mean, the ending on that forest sequence is devastating, I think, but yeah.
Would
No,
the
but
movie have
again,
hit harder
that's a
otherwise?
But it's a different movie, I
that's a
think.
very
Then,
different
but
movie.
Yeah, the
That's the
arc would have to be
difference.
re-engineered.
yeah, because I
really.
think
Yeah.
if you end there, it never becomes about how David becomes human.
Yeah.
It's about the cruelty of humanity as
Of
opposed
the
to
humans,
The,
yeah.
the, the Pinocchio comes
Pinocchio.
after that moment.
After, yeah.
that problem,
It starts after that, right? Like
Hmm.
a bad, like that's where to me it would just be like a religious allegory of, say, okay, the God has abandoned me kind of a thing. But the arc of him trying to become human, that is the kind of Pinocchio narrative that defines. So I wonder if either the spectacle had to, at least for me, a bit more of the emotionality baked in more
Sure.
regularly, or the family sections having more cohesion and the other sections have something where the
Sure.
two don't feel like they alternate. Instead, it's the two are bridged, which I never experienced, who maybe would have made it work better. But like that's my
That's
issue with
fair.
it.
No, I mean, the middle section of the
I
film
think
is
that's an
rocky
issue.
for
I
me
think that's an
also.
issue that a lot of people face. Like, if to a degree, even I feel the same problem with the movie itself, because again, the question where Kubrick ends and Spielberg begins in this movie.
Yeah,
It's
but I
a
think
matter of
it's
debate for
fascinating. I think on that level
Yeah.
also, because where people would expect one to end and one to begin are flipped almost in this scenario. So
Yes,
it's
exactly.
one of those things. So
I mean,
no, I mean,
I find the carnival sequence way too long. It goes
that
on
Yes,
for
is.
like,
I think that is
way
is
too
one
long.
of the issues
that's
of the
more
film.
a factor of length as opposed to is
Yeah.
it convincing.
Yeah,
To me,
I
the
think
film is
I'm
fully
more into
convincing.
the section where he goes into that city or whatever it is, where
The city of mirrors
the
and kind of all that stuff. Yeah.
जिसमें like the simulation of the blue fairy I think comes through and talks about something. I
Yes,
think.
yes.
When he goes through the questions with Dr. No.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
To me, that is but of course for me it is the opening 40 and like the closing 30 are like just insanely good. So
I
I'm
mean,
adjusting my
I
own
just
thing.
sort of liberated myself from the cushed, as I would like to think of it, of trying to figure out what is Kubrick, what is Spielberg.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Because
think it's
it's just
better
such a
anyway.
no, also so much of this is perception
Yeah.
eventually. Anybody,
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Until I would say the last scene, for instance, Bridge of Spies is a fairly lean, straightforward thriller drama, not out of the Spielberg wheelhouse. It's not until that
I mean,
moment with
it's written by the Coens also, so there's a flavor
Coens
of
and
their
Matt
thing.
Charman.
Yeah.
But until Amy Ryan talks about that marmalade and he's relaxing in the bedroom upstairs, and the thing on the TV flashes that the United States government has had the assistance of James B. Donovan in securing the release of Francis Gary Powers. And then Newman's score kicks in. Not until then is there a Spielbergian quote unquote flourish to the film. So he is as a director fairly
malleable.
Yeah, and he
And
doesn't
he
really
knows
have
how
a
to restrain
visual
himself.
style in
He
a
knows
way
how
that
to
other
restrain
directors.
himself.
I think
Yeah.
his camera work is in general not, I won't say restrained, but it's never flashy. It knows how to be, I think, somewhere close to visible and invisible, which I think is the perfect sort of.
My thing about I think about Spielberg, at least my perspective is that because he's a populist filmmaker and because he dabbles so much into all the
So he's a
populist stuff.
popular filmmaker.
Popular filmmaker.
Populist is probably the Russos.
Probably,
be
yeah,
fair.
probably.
No,
Yeah,
oh,
okay,
come
okay.
on.
Let me. Okay. What I mean to say
They
is that
are
because
populist filmmakers. I used to know.
अरे
Sorry?
ठीक है.
They are populist in that they exist to serve an audience. They
I mean,
don't.
I think a lot of Spielberg's films do exist to serve an
But
audience.
they are entirely his work.
Yeah,
Yes.
but their filmography, but Spielberg's filmography is also, there are also films that are very much personal, serving
Yes,
something
of course.
of his own
Whatever
point of
the
view.
Russos have done outside of that has been pants, apparently.
Yeah. So my point being that considering Spielberg and considering the studio system and everything, like the studio system where he dabbles and how much experience he has with the studio system and all that stuff, there are filmmakers who can act as bridges between two completely different eras. So
Yeah.
Spielberg, ostensibly from the auteur era or from the backpack era or whatever, he acts more like a bridge, or he's like more of a successor connecting the golden era to.
Yeah.
He's essentially bringing forth that era, the studio system directors who operated very well within the studio system, but also had a personality of their own.
Yeah.
Without losing
they
any
didn't
person.
lose themselves to the
They
system.
didn't lose themselves to that. I think one of the closest, I think he is not as flashy as Spielberg, or God forbid he's not as great a filmmaker as Spielberg, but I think one of the closest contemporaries, surprisingly, I think, is Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
I think is Clint Eastwood to that, for that matter. I think Clint is far more, I think, restrained. He is very restrained. Clint.
I mean, he is like restrained, almost like restful. I would
Restful,
say.
To the point of not necessarily having a voice in a lot
Having
of the films
voice
he
in a
ends
lot
up
of ways,
making.
yes. He ends
No,
up making.
I would
think it's
really
meat and
put-
potatoes sort of
Matlab,
stuff.
he's like he learns from Don Siegel to be very sparse, right? But the sparseness becomes like personality less in some instances.
I would actually put Scorsese and Spielberg very close together, because even with Scorsese, his cinema has genre similarities, thematic.
Yeah, I mean, I
similarities.
think he's a flashier
He doesn't.
filmmaker, but yeah.
Sure, but he
Scorsese is
doesn't
a very flashy
necessarily.
filmmaker, yeah.
But he doesn't necessarily make things in the way that, hey, that's a Scorsese frame for sure. Nobody else could have
Yes.
shot it.
I mean,
So
there are
in
some of
that,
them, but not all of them. Yeah.
Yeah, like the stylistic elements of his
Yes,
cinema,
yes.
as opposed to necessarily the broad visual.
No, but
treatment of it.
he knows how to switch them up. Silence is Silence doesn't feel like a quote unquote Scorsese film. I think, at least, which
No,
is a compliment. Sorry.
No, but if you hold it against, say, something like what's that? I mean, if you hold it against something like Killers, I think they are very much similar in that they are calmer films.
I like one much more than the other, so I can
much
only
more,
speak
yeah. But
for
they're
one,
not. I
yeah.
mean, like I'm absolutely not a Silence fan, but then
Yeah,
I'm not a Jesuit
I
fan
really
either.
like Silence. So no, but I think there's a difference in that filmmaking. I think, in fact, Killers is closer to his gangster films in its filmmaking. Sometimes, I think, at least, a mixture of the gangster and the docu.
No, it's
work
more
he's
like
done.
it's more neo-western in that aspect, neo-western and a gangster.
Sure.
Again, to be very honest, even if my liking towards genre and genre mixing is there, I think at some point the discussion between the demarcation is very futile, because at the end of the day, it's up to how a filmmaker represents the subject and everything.
And it's not really in the same space as if the same character is played by two different actors in a movie.
Yes.
Which happens very rarely, but it has happened.
I think the one thing I mean, Spielberg, I think with Spielberg's work, science fiction and otherwise, I think if you're looking for the darkness other than the sort of popular sentiment to it, I think his films have it, but you kind of have to maybe take a microscope to them sometimes.
I think very sincerely, I believe that like you said, you were saying, Dhruv, that maybe Ray would not have liked Spielberg. I think Spielberg is the closest America has to somebody much more
like Ray.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah,
I think because the one commonality in all his movies is the very humanist approach.
Sure, got it.
Very, very humanist approach. Even
he's never been like outright cynical, has he?
No. No.
Munich is the
I mean-
closest, maybe, I think.
I think Jaws is very cynical in a way.
In the end.
No,
I meant like a sort of going out of the cinema feeling like
I mean, no,
shit.
but like it's not like Jaws leaves you with any great satisfaction in that, like, through much of the movie,
Yeah.
Brody's conflict is with local government.
Yeah. No,
It
no.
makes his life
the
so painful,
the
right?
scenario is cynical. The outcome is what I'm talking about.
Like,
I mean,
I'm
even
not
the
going to-
outcome, right, is not going to
Why, they swim
necessarily.
back.
No, but
It's
it's
like
not
a-
solving it
No,
solved
I
that
mean,
particular
sure.
problem for
I
that
think by
particular
cynical,
moment.
I think by cynical, what I would mean is that
The
I'm not
Irishman.
I'm not expecting Spielberg to make a noir.
Yeah. Or the Irishman. Like you come out of it feeling like you want to think
And
about
that's not
death.
that's not a detriment, or that's not a put down to Spielberg.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I don't
I mean, I know
I
it's an
can't imagine
animated
him.
film, but Tintin at least captures the visual element of it
captures the visual element,
with
but
how it shoots
yeah,
some of the stuff.
I
certainly.
can't imagine like Schindler's
Like,
List, for whatever it is the farthest thing
I
from a
mean,
noir. It isn't.
I mean, it
is
ends
very dark.
with with a like
With
he asks for
literally
forgiveness.
Liam Neeson laying a stone on
yes,
Oscar
exactly.
Schindler's grave.
Yeah. So it's one of those.
So again, I truly believe that he's the closest thing Western filmmakers have to a Ray at this
Interesting.
point.
Interesting.
me,
We
at
will
least.
elaborate that, I think, in the Tom Cruise sections of this.
Why Tom Cruise and Ray have some connection or what?
No. Just
I
Tom
don't
Cruise.
think so.
Tom Cruise is
I will
every.
research if you want me to do that, but I don't
Please
think
do.
Was Ray into Scientology?
No.
Okay.
I can categorically say that. No.
Okay.
He was anti-dogmatism pretty
Yes.
openly.
He
so-
made a movie called Devi, which is completely anti-dogmatism.
But I think we're all talked out. We will be reconvening. It's going to be the same
Oh,
manel, I think.
No. I'm
No?
out.
Oh, okay. Dhruv
Why
has
are you
washed his
out?
hands off of the
I
Tom
was not
Cruise
there.
celebration.
Oh,
Why?
Ashwin is also
Why?
not there.
You are the TC fan.
I have 3 episodes in June. No, I don't have
Yeah.
4.
He's in the Pride Month episodes also. So yeah. I think
Oh,
too much workload with respect to watching movies also.
Okay,
So that's
fair
fairly
enough. But
Only Chris is totally free, so he's in all four.
yeah.
And it's
Chris
his
will
month.
dress up as Tom Cruise and come. He will
What
wear a
is the
mask
dress
also
up
like
as
him.
Tom Cruise
He
going
just
to be?
did
That's what I
this,
want to
Varun,
know.
when you said that.
Leather jacket, I guess. Short. Are you
Shades,
short, Chris? I don't know.
shades,
Maybe.
He is
shades.
short, yes.
I'm
Short in
about
his
the
height,
same
no.
height as Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Leather jacket, shades, what he needs.
Shades
what he
nahi
needs.
pehanta wo. Anyway, but we're not getting into that. We're going to be discussing Minority Report, Ready Player One, and
War of the
Worlds.
Worlds.
Yeah.
So some interesting stuff
I'm
happening.
actually
over there.
very curious to watch War of the Worlds. I've never seen it. I've heard people be very
It's
enthusiastic
a
about
very
it.
strange movie.
It's his
It's
9/11.
probably his
These are the
blandest film
post
in
9/11
many
allegory and
ways.
all that I've heard.
Yeah, it's a
I've
very
not watched
strange
Ready
movie.
Player One, so I'll have to watch that.
That
Oh,
movie is awful.
You will be hating that.
Salivating. You will be salivating to the
Yeah.
end.
Yeah.
It's that bad.
And
It's
then, of course,
barely
we will-
directed by Spielberg, to be honest. It feels like, because it's largely to do with the
Special
James
effects and
Cameron.
IT
the
and
James
everything.
Cameron thing.
Very
What he
nicely
does
done.
with.
Okay,
Oh, the
the-
chase
the-
sequence.
the virtual reality
No,
kind of
there's
stuff.
two very good action sequences, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of movie around it also, which you will see. If you
Okay.
like it, it's fine. If you don't like it, it's fine.
I really
hope
liked
not.
it in theaters, but I don't know
That
why.
I also liked, Ashwin, but I also watched it when I was less cynical. So yeah.
And then eventually we'll come back for Disclosure Day. I like how
Yeah.
you guys just interrupted my stream of announcements.
Oh wow.
Sorry.
How does it
Um,
feel, Varun?
Not very good, but it means
I
I'm going to
know.
do it to you a lot more.
Yeah.
Especially with the deviations you've taken today.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
like-
cut it, okay? It's
so
more for
basically
me.
our garbage stays. Basically our
Yeah.
Your
garbage,
garbage
will
will
always
stay,
stay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Understood.
But that's all from us over here at Queen is Dead. Khatam.
नहीं खत्म नहीं. You can follow us. वो बकवास बोलना
Oh
था.
yeah, of course. Sorry.
हाँ.
You can follow us on
Professionalism.
Instagram. Okay, what was it? Dhruv had started with repeat take.
Repeat take, yes.
That's all from us here at Queen is Dead. You can follow us on our social media handles. We're on Instagram. We're trying to get the Facebook page up and running again. We have some
Sanjeet,
sort of
listen to
presence on
this.
Twitter. You can follow Ashwin, Amartya, Dhruv, Cris, and me on Letterboxd.
Or
You can
Instagram. Actually,
yeah, on Instagram as well.
Yeah.
Letterboxd preferably, but Instagram as well.
Preferably, yeah.
Sure. Chris is also on Twitter, so go look him up there. Ashwin is also probably on
even
Twitter.
Ashwin
Look
is
him up
there and
as
Amartya
well.
is
Yeah.
there also. All three.
I mean, I'm on Twitter, but I do not engage with anybody related to cinema over there. That's
Okay.
a completely different space.
Yeah.
And Dhruv doesn't know what Twitter is, except
No,
that
I
he thinks
know
Oh
it's
no,
what
he
Twitter
knows.
is.
He
Oh,
got
he knows.
bullied
He's
off of
avoiding
it.
it precisely
I know
because he
it
knows.
very well.
Yeah,
Which is
But,
why I'm not there now. Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
avoiding it precisely because he knows how it is.
Lovely. To get more of an account of what happened to Dhruv on Twitter, go listen to the episode on Anora, presumably.
Yes.
That's all khatam.
Done. Nice, guys. I mean, not the film, but anyway.